604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, JP producing, starting off your Wednesday morning at 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We got a big Wednesday lined up for you. We are talking economic development. We are talking coastal lawsuits. We're talking legally served. We're talking ball moss. What the hell's ball moss? Oh, we're all over the place. We'll give you the full rundown in just a minute, but let's start off our Wednesday the right way. Let's start off with top stories and trending. Bro.
Number 5.
A defendant facing a rape accusation following the death of Madison Brooks in 2023 has notified court officials that he wants the judge presiding over his case to decide his fate without a jury. Kason Carver and 3 others were accused after Brooks died following a night out at Reggie's Bar in Tigerland. His lawyer said Tuesday he wants Judge Gail Horn Ray to hear the case herself. This is going to be one of the topics we cover in Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt 20 minutes from right now.
Number 4.
Governor Jeff Landry yesterday announced a series of programs that he says will give a whole government approach to sustaining ongoing economic development in Louisiana. Landry said he wants to focus on the industries that built the state's economy, adding that there has never been so much opportunity flowing into the state as there is this year. Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois will join us at 8:05 to unpack the whole thing.
Number 3.
A Westdale Middle School... I'm sorry, it's not funny. I'm sorry, it's not funny. A Westdale Middle School teacher was arrested after a random drug search at the school yesterday yielded cocaine and marijuana. This, according to the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office. 47-year-old Virginia Summers was arrested after a random lockdown dog search. The dog alerted officials to drugs in Summers' bag, where they found cocaine in her wallet. Officials say Summers admitted to using cocaine during the LSU tailgate over the weekend. It was given to her for free from a friend.
Number 2.
Look, longtime district attorney Scott Perilou said Tuesday he would not seek re-election next fall, ending a 30-year tenure as the chief prosecutor in Livingston, St. Helena, and Tangipahoa parishes. Perilou is currently serving his 5th term as the 21st district attorney, which ends the second Sunday of 2027.
Number 1.
We are now up to tropical depression phase for what will eventually become Gabrielle. Tropical depression number 7 formed late yesterday. Maximum sustained winds 35 miles per hour. We'll have a lot more on this after the 7 o'clock numbers come out. We'll give you the full on update.
Well, Tyler Robinson, the man accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk, was charged on Tuesday with aggravated murder.
Yep. And now that we're seeing a lot more actual information come out, information from the arraignment coming out, can we please just chill the bleep out on social media? We know we know a lot more about what his motives were.
Yes.
We got to hear a reading of the transcript or a reading of his text messaging back and forth with his, I'm going to say boyfriend, apologize for misgendering if I'm doing that, but his roommate was also his significant other who is a man or male transitioning into a female. And apparently he couldn't take Charlie Kirk's hate. He couldn't take things like, it takes a lot of courage to get that microphone. Good on you. Anyway, as we're unpacking a lot of this, a lot more becomes reality. We could stop speculating and stop throwing, just having flamethrowers on Facebook.
Yes.
Flamethrowers.
Much agreed. Yeah, and it looks like he's going to have another hearing on the 29th as well.
Yeah.
So actor Robert Redford passed away yesterday at the age of 89.
Yeah.
Kind of get that news.
I mean, that was coming out during the show, right?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was towards the end of the show.
Toward the end, yep.
Yeah, I remember because it was you gave me a quizzical look because they were quoting Butch and Sundance.
Yeah.
And the fall's going to kill you. It's one of my all-time favorite lines. When they're both looking over the cliff, and he's like, what are you waiting for? He's like, I can't swim. He's like, swim. The fall's going to kill you. All right, so right off the bat, Facebook Live chat.
Yeah.
I know it's early. I know he's up and really in there yet, but favorite Robert Redford film? because they cover so much ground.
Generationally, even.
Right.
I mean, just
No,
this
that's
guy
what I'm
has
talking
a
about.
span of just incredible work.
I know. And yeah, what is your favorite Robert Redford film? We'll play along with a few. I mean, 89 years old. He did it all.
Yeah.
Were you all about The Sting? Oh, The Sting. He was in The Sting, right?
I think, yeah, he was.
The Natural's probably going to be an early favorite right there.
played,
Butch and Sundance has got to be in there.
He played Johnny Hooker in The Sting.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, began his first acting role was in 1960 and spanned all the way to 2020.
Yeah, as a lover of American history and politics and all things like that, all the President's Men might be in that mix somewhere. He's got so many of them. So, yeah, favorite Robert Redford film. Let us know over on Facebook Live. What else? Oh, I know what else you got going over there.
Speaking of Facebook and just social media in general, the TikTok trend of urinating on college campuses and posting the video continues. And yes, LSU is not exempt from this trend. Man.
Can we say the name? I don't. All right. I want to be very clear here. If there's kids listening, it's a questionable word. It's not anything that's going to be an FCC violation. I believe the word is, the LSU pisser. If you come across that on any of the reels, or I've been seeing them on TikTok, and the videos are disgusting, provided he's actually going tinkle. It's quite possible it's just like a water bottle being squirted out.
Yeah, either way, though.
Yeah, I don't know how this trend started.
Trends, man. Social media trends.
So
Gotta
stupid.
love it.
He's just TTing on like the sign for the student union. And then he's like TTing over on like a sign for LaVille Hall. Or just the belt. But now there's LSU Batman who's looking for the LSU.
Gosh.
Hey, here's the thing. And like,
I am justice.
I'm coming for you.
Yes, sir, I'm coming for you.
It's exactly what's going on. Here's the thing, though. We can make fun of TikTok trends all day long, but would you rather people being silly and stupid doing this, or people being at each other's throats over politics?
Right. You're trying to bring a little bit of levity to the situation, but seriously, if you're looking for a Robin, hit me up.
Yeah. But okay, but this isn't just LSU though. Apparently, like every school out there has got their own TTer, right?
So insane.
And I saw one yesterday. Someone yesterday who was homeschooled.
No. Oh man. Oh, that's golden.
Literally.
Homeschool.
All right, 612 talk. I know it's way too early. I know. Oh my goodness. 612 talk 107.3 FM. We're gonna take a quick break in just a sec. Actually, we're gonna break it now because I don't want to attach a sponsor to what just happened.
Homeschooled.
No, homeschool pisser. He's just peeing all over his carpet.
That makes it even funnier because I thought he was outside. He's inside. His mom's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
He's wait, I sent it to Taylor.
Dad gets home. Who the hell pissed on the couch?
He's just peeing all over his carpet. Oh god. Okay, where is it? Where did I send it to?
Oh man, that is freaking funny.
Oh no, okay, he's in the bathroom, but he's like next to the toilet. Look.
Oh.
Look. The toilet lid is closed. Oh wait, no, it's all over. Okay, no, the first. Okay, let's just keep it going.
Oh no. The fridge. The square.
Just walking down the laminate floor in the hallway, all up and down the fridge.
Oh my gosh.
The homeschool pisser. Oh, shit. I was supposed to be.
Oh, man, I'm crying.
I know.
The homeschools kids like, I want in. There's a trend. I want in. Oh, man. Oh, man. I needed that.
By the way, that was so good. We completely forgot about the middle school teacher doing blow.
Man, it's hard out there for these teachers, man. It's hard. Class, give me 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes, class.
That's what I want. That's what I want from my kids' education. I want Jordan Belfort.
Yeah.
That's.
Oh, man. Oh.
All right, here's the game plan. I want you bringing us a couple martinis every 5 minutes.
Oh, my goodness, man. Craziness.
Yep. 616 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Got to take a quick minute to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. In fact, I love telling you about the branches individually because they are a community bank and they serve their community. One of the things that often gets overlooked when you talk about a community bank, yeah, you have a banker. Yes, you have someone you can walk in, shake their hand, just catch up on life and have a cup of coffee while planning out your future. Whether you're talking about borrowing, whether you're talking about saving, whatever the case might be. But don't forget, Landmark Bank lacks in no way, shape, or form when it comes to tech. Online banking, they're here for you. They make sure that their digital services are top of the line. Bill paying, e-statements, mobile banking, pop money, you name it, they've got it for you at landmarkbankla.com. Yes, you have all the benefits of a community bank, and they've been a community bank since 1897. But you're not trading off and lacking when it comes to the online services, when it comes to the fintech, as it's called, landmarkbankla.com. It is sports time, and I want to start with LSU. More specifically, I want to start with one Kirk Herbstreit. Got a hold of this. I borrowed this one from After Further Review, who went and tracked it down. Apparently, Kirk Herbstreit is liking the LSU Tigers a lot more than Tiger fans are.
I look at LSU, and maybe it's because I saw them in person when they played Clemson. I saw their defense, and I just thought, Blake Baker, I think, is one of the top defensive coordinators in the country, and they made some intentional adjustments to their defensive front, especially on the ends, and in the secondary, especially at corner. And I think we've been talking, I think it's one of the big stories in the sport after the first 3 weeks is how good their defense is. They had 5 picks last week. Some of that was Lagway. Some of that is really good LSU defense. So I got them at 1.
Kirk Herbstreit has LSU as his number one. And I'm not even remotely thinking about disagreeing with him here because, well, number one, he watches a lot more college football than anybody else. He understands a lot more. He knows a lot more. And if he sees something in LSU, I'll run with it. But the flip side of it is, after what we learned on Monday about Garrett Nussmeier's injury, I can't help but get a lot more positive about this team. Of course, Nussmeier's going to need some chance to rest. And I know Kelly said you can't do that till the bye week. Everybody else seems to disagree and say, no, do it now. It's Southeastern you're playing. Which, by the way, 6:55 kickoff on Saturday evening. You'll hear that game on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, LSU versus Southeastern. But I don't know how to not be positive about this when you learn that the defense is this nationally well respected at this point, and the offense still has plenty of upside because it's been limited due to that whatever torso injury it is. So just a quick thought. Meanwhile, Saints looking to head out on the road for the first time this season.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Obviously, grew up there in the state of Washington, so it'll be a lot of fun to be back up there. I'm really excited for our team. It's our first road game. I think road games are really fun. You know, you get to go up there together as a team. You got some family that travels maybe with you. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of other people on your side of the game, and so it'll be a lot of fun. It's a really cool environment, really fun environment, challenging. There's a lot of challenges with playing up there in the crowd noise, but it'll be an awesome opportunity for our football team.
It is very challenging with the crowd noise. Saints, I believe, are starting off at 8.5-point underdogs in that game. He said fun a lot right there. And, boy, it's a good thing he's a first-year head coach and that honeymoon's still on because, hey, coach, winning's fun. Winning's fun as well. All right, here comes the Fox Business Report. I'm going to have to go home after the show because I didn't grab a, what's it called? Sport coat for a Rotary. I know. Why can't I get his list of credits as an actor? There we go. Uh-huh. All right, let's head back to the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center and take a look at what's going on out there this morning. Interstates, it's your normal song and dance right now. You're going to find a little bit of volume on I-12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish. It's coming in from like right around that Range Avenue exit and on-ramp. That will not even enough to slow you down, but it is out there. After that, things pick right back up on 12, take you all the way to the 10-12 merge. I-10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish looks great as well. There's no slowdowns of note on 10 westbound. Making your way through the city on 10 west, it's looking good. 10 east coming in from West Baton Rouge is looking good. I-110, smooth sailing in both directions. Two things to look out for on your surface streets. I'm sorry, three things to look out for in your surface streets right now. Let's start off on Airline Highway. This is an incident that's right at 30 minutes old right now. Being worked by BRPD, there is an accident with injuries. Airline at Bicentennial Place. Bicentennial Place is just south of Prescott. So if you're coming down Airline southbound, that's about where you'll find that accident. About 15 minutes ago, East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office reported a crash blunt at Cypress Glen, and about 10 minutes ago, there was a crash reported Greenwell Springs at Tucker Road. That's your look at traffic from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Coming up next hour, Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute is going to talk coastal lawsuits with us at 7:15. Whitney, Hoffman, Sayal from the Downtown Development District going to talk about Plan Baton Rouge Phase 3 and maybe some of the items within the plan that aren't getting as much pub as others. If you're going to revamp or build out a new LSU arena, that's going to get headlines. You're going to rebuild or redo the Raising Kings River Center with a host hotel. That's going to get headlines. But what about what's going on or going to be going on 3rd or 4th Street? What are we doing to create a better, more job-friendly environment for downtown with some of our older buildings, perhaps? These are topics we're going to talk about when Whitney Hoffman sails in at 7:35. 8:05, Susan Bourgeois is our Economic Development Secretary. She's going to stop by to talk about yesterday's press conference. Laurie White Adams at 8:15, Councilwoman Laurie White Adams, talking about something that's potentially very deadly to the oak trees on LSU's campus. I shouldn't say potentially. It is very deadly for the oak trees on LSU's campus. And we'll wrap up with DC Current presented by LABI. That's Congresswoman Julia Letlow at 8:35. And yes, I am going to ask her the question we're all thinking about. Right now, though, time for Legally Served. What you say, Franz? How are you, brother?
Brian Haldane, listeners, viewers, good morning. I owe you an apology.
No, you don't.
I'm not there to present myself properly this morning. I had a car issue, as you know, and I'm without car for the next couple of days. So I appreciate you guys letting me do this remotely.
What? No. You do not owe an apology because you called yesterday to say, let's work out logistics. That's a hell of a lot better than leaving us hanging. So apology rejected because it's not needed.
When it comes to legally served, nothing is left hanging. So you got some good topics today. I'm excited.
We do. I want to start off with a listener submitted topic, if we could, and take us back to, because you explained some of the legalities behind this, and it makes a lot of sense. It takes us back to, oh my goodness, was this last year? I believe it was. The operator of a vessel that was involved in a fatal boating incident on the Tickfall River was sentenced on August 1st in Livingston. I'm sorry, it was last month, not last year. My apologies. Sentenced on August 1st in Livingston Parish. The Honorable Judge Charlotte H. Foster sentenced Jason Chasson, Jr. of Holden to serve 5 years in jail for each of the 2 counts of negligent homicide to run consecutively, with 4 years suspended for each count and 6 months in jail for each of the 5 counts of negligent injuring to run concurrently with the negligent homicide sentencing. He was also ordered to pay a $2,000 fine. So the question that was submitted to me was, how does he get off that easy for killing somebody?
So that is not an easy question to answer in a vacuum. What we got to start with is, what did the victim's family want? What did they not want? And that's going to be a topic for later this morning.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yep.
The DA's office doesn't have to listen to the victim's family, but generally will defer and give them deference. We'll listen to them and say, hey, what do you guys think? Now, these charges we're talking about in this case started much higher. They started as a vehicular homicide. That carries up to 30 years. The reality is, though, that most people on first offenses, and I'm assuming, again, in the vacuum, I assume this guy has no criminal record. I assume that possibly the individuals that died in this tragic accident may have even been, in some respects, people he knew, if they were on his boat versus the other boat, right? So we have to start with that list. Is it a good deal? Absolutely. Let's not mince words. I looked at that deal yesterday and I was like, man, that's a good deal. That's some good. My knee jerk was, that's some good defense work. But we don't know. Again, we don't know and guys, the article that we were talking about earlier, headline with individual gets 2 years. Well, he didn't get 2 years. He technically got sentenced to 10 years, all but 10 years, and then he'll do 4 suspended. So the actual 2 years, which will be Paris prison time, flat. He'll do 2 flat years.
Right.
Makes about the right sense when you start doing mathematics. Now, the other side of this is from a legal standpoint, and again, my heart goes out to the victims' families. This was an unnecessary and tragic accident. It was a negligent homicide. So what does that mean to you and the listeners?
Well, this is where I'm going to jump in, Franz. This is because we're up on our break. We got news coming up.
Cool.
So we will spell out that definition and how does it relate to another case when it comes to listening to the victims. That is where we're going to pick up in just a little bit. Right now, though, we got ABC News coming your way. We got local news coming your way. Traffic, weather, legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt as part of Mornings with Brian Haldane continues next. I see. This is the part that's different, right? Is because and you just got to sit there and hold.
Yeah, there's no.
We can't dick around.
Dialogue.
I know. Missed my guy. Cars break down. The world's an imperfect place.
Heck yeah, man. We going to 50 or we're just gonna call it at?
Yeah.
Let me check the time. Do we have until 7?
I don't think so.
So 50.
Man, Robert Redford did some terrible movies. I mean, it only makes sense when you do 80-plus movies. They're not all going to be hits.
That's right.
But he did some doo-doo. All right, here we go. Let's. I'm all the way back to the beginning of the list where he was doing like one-off episodes on TV.
I guess creative liberty of just like, I'll do it.
He did an episode of Maverick back in 1960.
Oh,
Okay. Let's see. Barefoot in the Park, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Those are 2 of the big ones. Has anybody seen Tell Them Willie Boy Is Here? That sounds terrible. Jeremiah Johnson was a big one. The Candidate was a big one. The Way We Were was a big one. The Sting, Great Gatsby, and then The Great Waldo Pepper. I don't know what that is.
The what is it?
The Great Waldo Pepper. Oh, I need to go get my coffee.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Let's see. Byron with the comment of the day. The comment of the morning so far. You're in big trouble, mister. You said urine. It's good. It's good stuff. I like it. I like how we're all on the same page this morning. Galen says many great works, but I thought he was a perfect fit in The Great Gatsby. Yep, for sure. The Sting, The Natural, good stuff. fact that there's a Bourgeois and Thibodeau commercial right now, it's on right now, it's so good. Shout out to Trash Rangers.
All right. Well, since Franz is here the whole way through, I'm gonna bang out my Breck read so that we don't fall behind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
I'm gonna do it on the front end here. Oh, remember Indecent Proposal?
Indecent Proposal.
Yeah.
How does that sound familiar? Sounds very familiar.
Robert Redford was this billionaire. Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore were a couple. And Robert Redford says, "I'll give you one night or $1 million if I could sleep with your wife for a night."
Okay.
And it drives Woody Harrelson crazy in the back end.
Dang. That's another just amazing actor. Woody Harrelson. I love his movies.
637 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Going to dive right back into Legally Served with attorney Franz Borghardt in just a second. I do need a moment, though, to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Not too early to start thinking about when school goes on break. When you have Thanksgiving or fall holiday, you're wondering what to do with the kids during that time. Breck has camps for you. Sorry about that. My apologies. Breck has camps for you. If you hop on breck.org, and just pop it in a little search line right there where it says I'd like to, say search for camps. Just put in camps. They've got you covered. There are Thanksgiving camps or camps over the Christmas break as well. And like I said, it's not too early to go ahead and get yourself signed up right now. Just another example how every time you turn around, Breck has to be all things to all people. And their interim director, Janet Simmons, is just, they're making a lot of moves right now, shaking a lot of things up, taking a gold medal award-winning park system and making it better, making it more user-friendly for Baton Rouge. Check them out online at breck.org or just go visit any of the local parks there. Take advantage of it. It's community personified with Breck. All right, right back to attorney Franz Borghardt, Legally Served, diving back in. Franz, we were talking about negligent homicide on the way into break. So if we could, and there's more discussion to be had on this topic, but could we start back with what the definition and parameters are there?
Sure. So I'm going to preface this with, we see articles that say individual got 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a lot of facts and details we don't have when we see that article. And I'm not saying Wildlife and Fisheries was doing clickbait, but the whole point behind the title of that is to get you to view it, right?
Right.
That's the press release. Negligent homicide, for the viewers, at its core is an accident. It is a gross deviation from the normal standard of care of a reasonable person. Well, what the heck does that mean? It's an accident. It's an unintended crime that happens because you were doing something that was really, really, really grossly negligent.
Right.
Like driving a boat over the legal limit.
Yeah.
that is technically, at its core, that could be negligent homicide. Getting into a car accident where you're playing with your phone could be negligent homicide. Now, the big issue here that nobody is talking about is, well, what happens when the other boat driver is above the legal limit too? And you have two impaired drivers of boats in water. That's something that the article didn't publish. And look, I am not victim blaming. I am not trying to be disrespectful to the deceased in this case. But if you're a defense attorney working this case up, that presents a huge defense and a reason to resolve your case with this kind of a resolution.
Another way to put it, is there before the grace of God, right? If it had turned out the other way, where the victim, if you switch who's the victim here, the other person is just as guilty of the exact same thing. Yeah.
So you could have, let's say boat driver number 2, who may have been over the legal limit. I think he was over the legal limit. Boat driver number 2 survives, but somebody else dies. Guess what? They both could be charged with negligent homicide.
Right.
So there's always facts and details we don't know. We also don't know anything about this guy who pled guilty to this crime. We don't know what mitigation. I'm assuming he has no prior record. I'm assuming 3 times I said it.
Mm-hmm.
He has no criminal record, no prior DWIs. And look, I don't have a boat. I have never driven a boat. But if you've ever been on a boat in Livingston or in the canal, in Marpole, wherever, look, people drink.
Oh,
not appropriate.
It's a great Nate Bargatze joke. If you're out on the lake, everybody driving a boat's either drunk or 11.
Right. So, okay. Well, in the background of all this, the article says guy gets 2 years. Well, okay. He's doing 2 years of Livingston Parish prison time, which, by the way, for those who don't listen normally or don't know a lot about the criminal justice system, 2 years of flat time in a parish prison when you're not normally a visitor to our justice system, that dude's going to feel that time.
Yeah.
That dude is going to feel that time. It may seem like a low number. Additionally, he's going to have time hanging over his head when he gets out. He's going to have 4 years suspended. So, on its face, great resolution. If I'm a defense attorney, I'm like, hey, guys, we're going to supper club. We're going to go eat some good food. Maybe we're going to go to Rocco's Po' Boys and get a good lunch. This is a good resolution. But there's always the other side of the story with regard to how we got there. And look, the prosecutors in Livingston Parish are good prosecutors.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to hand over the baby with the bathwater. Their resolution was probably largely in part based on a concept called intervening causation. Who caused the accident when you have 2 impaired boat drivers? That's the problem. And I'm not again not trying to dance on anybody's grave on this one. I'm just trying to get the listeners and viewers to understand it's not always as simple as the clickbait article makes it.
Right. All right. So with that in mind, and going back to the idea of what did the victim's family want, let's pivot over to a story that was on WBRZ's website. Victim, quote, not satisfied with plea deal for coach charged with molesting her and others. The story reads, a woman who accused an Ascension Parish area softball coach of molesting her in 2017 is speaking up about the plea deal that he received this week. Jermaine Miles pleaded guilty to 3 counts of indecent behavior on Monday, 6 years after his arrest on 5 counts of child molestation. The victim here, not happy with the way this played out. So let's dive back into the topic, Franz, of what level of input does the victim get here?
So, other problem is when we say victim, which victim are we talking about? Are we talking about the victim, the person that was sexually assaulted, molested? Are we talking about their willingness to go to trial and us trying to shield them through something? Because if that victim said, hey, I don't like this deal, well, then they shouldn't be listened to. And look, the other problem of prosecutors then is a victim's family may be 5 to 10 people.
Okay.
And they don't always agree.
Let's start with the person who's the actual victim. Let's start with the person who was molested.
Yeah, I got to tell you, if that individual that was molested, God bless her soul, was saying, "Why are you doing this? Why are you giving away the baby with the bathwater?"
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. That is a problem. Again, we don't know now. Again, clickbait. We don't know the strengths and weaknesses of the case. We don't know if there were some issues or warts on this case that might have made it difficult for the DA's office to prosecute and convict. So it's easy to sit back and say, well, wait, what the heck? The victims didn't want this. Well, sometimes you got to get the conviction over numbers.
But now you're talking about something, you mentioned the term clickbait. I don't think this one's clickbait because the headline is about as straightforward as can be. Victim not satisfied with plea deal for coach charged with molesting her and others. That anything beyond that, you've run out of room for a headline, and you're reading the whole dadgum article as the headline.
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
This is not the walking down the clickbait route. And the article is who put this one up there? Because the article's unbelievably thorough with the quotes that leave. Oh, it's Bess. Yeah, of course it's gonna be good. Unbelievably thorough with the victim's accounts and recounting the story from start to finish. You get as much of the view or the viewpoint of the victim here as you're going to. Now, when you get into it, the back and forth that goes on within the courtroom is what that I don't think that any reporter would ever be able to like fully tackle within an article. I mean, now you're talking about talking about writing a book,
Mm-hmm.
But the purpose of the article here is the victim is unhappy. So how do you, and we got like literally 30, I tell you what, let's hang on to this one until we come back from break. I want to make sure we stay on time here because the question I want to ask as we go into break, and you can answer it when we come out, is how do you go back to the victim with, I don't want to say excuse making, but how do you go back to the victim with, we're not going to be able to get what you're asking for, and counterbalance that with, how do you know what the victim is asking for is a reasonable ask? He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We'll continue next. 652 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Legally served with attorney Franz Borghardt, albeit remotely, but we continue on. Franz, I legit forgot about the question I asked going into the break, but there was something that I shared with you via text during the break that if we could continue. Oh, sorry. We were talking about the depth of the article and whatnot. And one of the big parts of the article and by the way, we're talking about the case of Jermaine Miles pleading guilty to 3 counts of indecent behavior on Monday. And it was
more than one victim.
More than
right?
one. Yeah, there was more than one victim. And this could have been a whole lot worse. And as disgusting as the text messages were that were sent back and forth between Miles and the victims, and as heinous as the crime actually is, there's a part of this article that I think I'm just going to straight read 3 paragraphs here because I feel like this is the crux of the whole thing, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Prosecutors decided against the trial and agreed for Miles to plead guilty to 3 counts of indecent behavior. Now, you read just that sentence like, why would they do that? Well, here's the quote. I would have gone to trial if I had everybody participating on several of the accounts, said District Attorney Ricky Babin. He says not all of the victims were willing to testify. The quote continues, I could have forced one of them to testify, but, I kind of try to give those victims the opportunity. You know what I mean? So.
Right. What he's saying is the pursuit of justice shouldn't necessarily make a sexual assault victim in a worse position than they were because you're forcing them to testify. Yeah, he can force them to testify. And maybe sometimes we do need to make victims testify. But man, oh man, if you give me a kid or a young person that was sexually molested by a coach and they're looking at you in the eyes and saying, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me do this. And you're going to make it worse by forcing them to get on. That's something to think about.
It is.
That is something. That is something to think about.
The problem here, Franz, is you have more than one victim, and
right.
if one victim is willing to testify, or 2 are willing to testify, you had to start asking the question of you really had to hear from all of them, you had to hear from everybody to hear the same story over and over and over again in order to get some decent jail time onto this guy.
Well, and let's not lose sight of the fact that the state of Louisiana got a conviction on this. Right.
Okay.
Is he going to have to register as a sex offender?
Oh, you know what? I believe so. Yeah, I closed out the story already. So
No, all good. So I'm not saying the other victims need to be happy. What I'm saying is it's not as easy as victims are unhappy and we just keep it moving and we get angry at the prosecutors, because at the end of the day, what do you do when you have 2 or 3 sexual assault victims that want different things?
Right.
Do you bifurcate them and say, hey, I'm going to try this one and let the dice roll and see where the chips fall?
What? Hang on. Whoa. You're bringing up a good point that I think needs to be legally addressed here. Can you do that? Can you try them all separately?
You could.
Can you
do
charge
that.
him separately and not lump it all into one?
That is not a efficient way of doing things. And normally you charge them together. You charge them together because 3 is a stronger case than 1.
Unless the 3 don't row in the same
right.
direction.
Absolutely.
And efficiency be damned. We don't have an efficiency system. We have a justice system.
Well, you do and you don't. That statement is not necessarily true. We have a limited amount of resources. We have a limited amount of jury weeks. We have a limited amount of funding and prosecutors. So it's easy to say it shouldn't be about money and efficiency. But the fact of the matter is what, Brian?
Oh, no.
It is absolutely about money and efficiency.
I understand that. But if you know going in that your pooling of resources does more to detract from a win than add to it, why would you pool your resources?
So the other piece is things change. All victims may have been on board when you formally charged this guy, and then when it comes to the rubber meeting the road, the nut cutting time, so to speak, and you're looking at these victims saying, hey, we're set for trial and we need you ready to go, that becomes real.
Yeah.
And when that becomes real, things do change sometimes where someone says, I don't want to testify. I've thought about it. I don't want this. So it's not. My point is, on the surface, this looks like a ridiculous deal, and victims are unhappy, and I get that, and they have every right in the world to be unhappy,
Right.
Brian. The problem is it's not as easy as just being angry.
Okay, then let's go back.
Sometimes there's other factors.
Let's go back to that efficiency part right there to revisit that one more time. We're not going to get to the third story, and that stinks because I did want to talk about it. But let's go back to the efficiency part, because if you have multiple victims, before this thing is tried, can those victims individually say, I don't feel like when we get together?
Correct.
Who decides whether or not to pull them together? If the
Well,
victim
the
says, I
victim-
want my trial separately.
Well, so generally they don't want them separately. Generally,
No, generally they
are-
don't. But in a case
Right.
like this, like let's just walk down the hypothetical with me, okay? Like let's say
Okay.
you have 3 victims, and 2 of them want this guy away forever, and are willing to testify and are willing to go to all the lengths they need to go to make sure this guy is under the jail, right?
You could theoretically separate them and bifurcate them at the beginning and try them on different tracks.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, who gets to make that call?
The DA does. The
Okay.
prosecutor does.
All
You
right.
also could try them separately and then backdoor the other alleged activities into the separate one through a mechanism of law. It's just not. It's not the way we normally do things.
Yeah. Yep.
If you've got listen, if you've got a serial rapist who's raped a whole bunch of people, you could have 10, 20 different trials, or you could have one trial and pile on. And look, piling on normally works. Piling on is what normally resolves the case with a plea and a big number.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a case of if there's that much smoke, there's got to be fire.
Right. I'm trying to resolve, as a defense attorney, I want to resolve all my stuff. I don't want to piecemeal resolve stuff.
Well, that's exactly what they did. That's exactly what happened to Donald Trump. He had 34 counts of something that had never been prosecuted before.
Right.
So, yeah, piling on does work. But at the same time, though, man, if you see that the weakest link in the chain, the chain's going to break.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
in the meanwhile, you got to hop on Court TV. Hey, man, I appreciate you making it work this morning.
God bless.
All auto issues aside, but thanks for hopping on board, brother. We'll talk to you soon. He's attorney Franz Borghardt. We do Legally Served at this time every week. Right now, here comes hour 2 is next. What you say, Rich?
7 years ago today, baby.
Wait.
58. Guess what? Old man took me to Camellia Grill, old Tulane Stadium, little 7-year-old pup. And man, if my dad would have knew I grew up to be what I am today, he'd be so proud. Anyway, your thoughts, baby.
First play is a
94
kick
yards,
return
John
for a
By
touchdown.
the way, it's a thing.
Everything else
It's
went to
pretty
F.
cool if you want to play it. It's like a minute long, and it's the opening, and the guy describes everything.
The one you sent me.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna play the kickoff return. So.
But I found the original one, but you can't understand it. Don Criqui on
Oh,
the
you
call.
can't. All right.
No,
All right.
you
Well,
can't.
all right.
I tried to find the original, but you can't. It's so far back.
Yeah. kickoff return for a touchdown, then
You know
everything.
the final game played in old Tulane Stadium?
No.
November 1st, 1979. De La Salle and Rummel.
No kidding.
And then
Who won?
They tore it down. I'm sure Rummel did.
You know I'm the only male in my family didn't go to Rummel?
Yeah, we could be Rummel and shit. No, really? Are you kidding me?
My dad was second graduating class.
I didn't know that, B. It took all of this time, all the hurricanes, 3 in the morning, we bored out of our ass, and you didn't share that?
I don't know. All my cousins went to Rummel.
Wow, man,
We moved to the North Shore
Okay.
when I was in elementary school. So, yeah, I went to Mandeville for elementary and junior high, and then went to St. Paul's. But yeah, we were all Rummel, and
Oh, I didn't know that, man.
my aunts went to Chappelle.
Cool, I'm waiting for the Metro Council and the presidents of the 105 HBCUs to come out and thank Trump. I'm getting ready to do that.
Wait, what happened?
$500 million. That's $4.7 million of HBCUs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to do this.
He did more in his last term for HBCUs
Man,
than any Democrat has done since signing the damn civil rights movement.
Oh, you know all these programs we got? How big that is? I got a list of them. That can't stop what happened to that 7-year-old kid at 740 and the 70815.
Bro,
Even the driver goes, get him out the way. I'm coming. It's amazing, babe. It really is.
.705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. This hour we're checking in with Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute. We're going to talk coastal lawsuits in just a little bit. That's coming up in our next segment. Also this hour, Whitney Hoffman Sayal from the Downtown Development District. Let's talk about a couple of pieces of Planned Baton Rouge Phase 3 that probably aren't getting enough pub because in the long run they might make more of an impact. All that's coming up later on this hour, though. We are starting you off at 72 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Brian here with you, JP producing. Let's roll with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
A defendant facing a rape accusation following the death of Madison Brooks in 2023 has notified court officials he wants the judge presiding over his case to decide his fate without a jury. Kason Carver and 3 others were accused after Brooks died following a night out at Reggie's Bar in Tigerland. His lawyer said Tuesday he wants Judge Gail Horn Ray to hear the case herself. My apologies, we did not get to this in Legally Served.
Number 4.
Governor Jeff Landry yesterday announced a series of programs that he says will give a whole government approach to sustaining ongoing economic development in the state. Landry says he wants to focus on the industries that built the state's economy, adding that there has never been so much opportunity flowing into the state as there is right now. Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois will join us at 8:05 to unpack the whole thing.
Number 3.
A Westdale middle school teacher was arrested after a random drug search at the school yielded cocaine and marijuana, according to the sheriff's office. 47-year-old Virginia Summers was arrested after a random lockdown dog search. The dog alerted officials to drugs in Summers' bag when they found cocaine in her wallet. Officials say Summers admitted to using the cocaine during an LSU tailgate and was given it for free from a friend.
Number 2.
Longtime District Attorney Scott Perilou said Tuesday he would not seek re-election next fall. This is going to end a 30-year tenure as the chief prosecutor in Livingston, St. Helena, and Tangipahoa parishes. Perilou is currently serving his 5th term as the 21st District Attorney, which ends on the second Sunday of 2027.
Number 1.
We have tropical depression number 7 out there, y'all, still holding it a 90+% chance that it will become a named storm. If and when it does, she will become Gabrielle. What we're looking at right now is maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. Now, as they've got this mapped out with the cone of uncertainty, it's looking once again like once Gabrielle becomes Gabrielle, Gabrielle will become a named storm over the next day, and then a hurricane by the end of the weekend, and a problem to absolutely no one as it's projected to stay out in the Atlantic like every other storm we've seen so far this season. What's trending, JP?
Well, Tyler Robinson, the man accused of assassinating Charlie Kirk, was charged on Tuesday with aggravated murder.
And we're learning more and more about the motives and whatnot. I tell you else what we're learning about is how many folks out there will buy in on conspiracy theories.
Oh, sure.
Look, the folks that present the conspiracy theories make a very good case. They
Oftentimes they do.
Yeah.
Like it's
and
compelling
that's
sometimes.
Well, because it becomes very believable.
Yeah.
But in the long run, though, the happenstance that has to happen along with it,
right,
or the number of people that have to keep things a secret. Like there are very, very few conspiracy theories I believe in. Yeah. Oswald not being the only gunman is probably the only one. Interestingly enough, there would be a lot of similarities between that and this one. But Oswald not being the only gunman would be one.
Yeah.
And what we're looking at with this one is a whole like backlog of who's quote unquote masterminding behind it.
Yeah, like who would be behind the curtain,
I know.
as they would say, right?
It just at a certain point you have to take a leap of faith to believe the theory.
Yeah.
And then once you do, you can't backtrack your way out of it.
It's tough.
So I know.
It's tough. In other news, actor Robert Redford passed away yesterday at the age of 89.
All right, so we were asking last hour for folks to go over in the chat over on Facebook Live. We're live on Facebook every single day, courtesy of the folks at Lake Urchin Care. What's your favorite Robert Redford movie? Mine's probably The Sting, although the best line ever comes from Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, with the one says, what are you worried about? I can't swim. Well, it's the fall that's going to kill you. That's a great line. But I was pulling up here on Robert Redford's IMDb. He did a ton of really bad movies.
That's expected, right?
No one bats 1,000.
Right.
I understand that. But for every The Natural, there's The Company You Keep, All Is Lost, Making a Scene, Lions for Land. Like there's a stack of big fat nothings. One of the ones that I completely forgotten about from his resume was Indecent Proposal.
Okay. We had talked about,
Yeah, we talked about it during the break. A 1992 film where Robert Redford plays a millionaire. And Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore are a couple who are hard strapped for cash. And Robert Redford says, I'll give you $1 million for one night with your wife.
Oof.
And it just they agree to it. Everything goes exactly the way you think it's going to go. And then Woody Harrelson absolutely loses his mind by being caught up inside his own mind.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's
that's another fantastic actor. Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
So good.
You know what it is?
What's that?
Indecent Proposal is kind of the movie version of The Killer's Mr. Brightside.
Okay.
I
could see that.
You know how this song is all about the guy who's he can't stop picturing his girlfriend with. It's thing, same thing, but movie version.
Ooh, and then we think about the movies he directed. He actually won, an Academy Award for his first directorial debut, which was Ordinary People.
Okay,
he was also nominated for Best Director.
He had a lot. He had a lot of really good ones, and then he also had Spy Game.
Yeah,
he had a lot of really good ones. And he also had Pete's Dragon.
There we go.
Yeah, a lot of really good ones. Okay, he also
Pete's
did the
Dragon
TV series Dark Winds.
Dark Winds?
Dark Winds.
Oof.
A lot of really good ones.
Not silent but deadly, but Dark Winds.
No. Your favorite Robert Redford film? Sound off over on Facebook Live.
Well, speaking of Facebook and social media in general, the TikTok trend of urinating on college campuses and posting the video continues. And yes, LSU is not exempt from this trend. Oh man.
All right, I'm going to assume there's a lot more children listening right now because we are mid carpool time at 7:12. So I'm just gonna say this: we had a lot of fun with this topic last hour. If you wanted to seek it out after the show's over with, our Facebook Live is available as just a regular video. Go back and watch the opening segment because they're
a little off the rails.
It went a little off the rails.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, but apparently this is every college out there has their own T-tier. Tinkler. The Tinkler. Yeah. So they're urinating on signs for buildings or buildings themselves and just filming the arc of the stream.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's insane. But you said locally, what is there, Batman?
There's an LSU Batman.
There's an LSU Batman.
Who's trying to find the LSU Tinkler.
Serving up justice.
Yeah.
I am vengeance. Listen, if you're looking for a Robin, hit me up.
Mm-hmm. We're at 712 at Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break. When we come back, Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute tells us where we are with the coastal lawsuits next.
Everybody.
Studio. Hi, good morning, sir. Yeah, we'll have you up here in just a minute or so. Thank you. A couple minutes.
$7:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Let's roll back the clock to last Thursday. The Pelican Institute got active over at the U.S. Supreme Court, filing a few briefs to confront the trial lawyer-driven lawfare against American energy production. Joining us with an update to explain everything about it is Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute. Daniel, how are you, man? It's been forever.
It's been way too long. It's good to be back with you, Brian. Thanks for having me.
No, always glad to have you on. Bring us up to speed. Tell us what's going on.
Gosh, as we've seen, there's just the plaintiffs' attorneys have been using the courts to attack American energy companies. Here in Louisiana, of course, we've felt it in the coastal lawsuits we've talked about before, but rest assured, this is not just happening in Louisiana. This is happening across the country. So the Pelican Institute engaged with a amicus, or friend of the court brief, on two cases in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. Filed those last week.
Mm-hmm.
One is, of course, the question here in Louisiana of whether the coastal lawsuits belong in state court or federal court, and the other is a similar case brought by the County Commission in Boulder, Colorado, suing oil and gas companies over climate change outcomes.
Okay, so I want to start with the Chevron versus Plaquemines Parish, since that hits home a lot more than the other one. But I do want to get into the other one because it's a lot less familiar to us because it's not here. So let's start off with Chevron versus Plaquemines Parish. This is the one with the roughly $750 million verdict earlier this year. Walk us through everything as like how it started versus how it's going.
Yeah. So these coastal lawsuits began being filed about 13 years ago now, have been argued back and forth with briefs over that period of time. These are lawsuits that are sponsored by local parishes, a number of parishes, as well as the state of Louisiana, and are being driven by the Carmouche law firm. One law firm has almost all of these cases. There are a few others engaged. And they've been arguing basically that oil and gas exploration activities, the creation of the canals and other things have created coastal erosion problems for the state. And so they believe that the oil and gas companies have violated a set of permits that were put into place, or permitting scheme that was put into place in the 1980s. The problem is two things. One, a number of the activities that they allege violate the 1980s era permitting regulations happened in the 1930s and 40s as part of the war effort driven directly by the Roosevelt and then following that Truman administrations to produce jet fuel for the war. So one, we have a problem of retroactive application of regulation. These regulations didn't exist when the activity took place. And two, which is what's at the heart of the case in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, is this is activity done largely at the direction of the federal government. And laws exist. In fact, the law was just expanded in 2011 to remove cases dealing with what they call federal officer, where companies or individuals are acting on behalf of the government, move those into federal court rather than be subject to the whims of local court systems.
We're talking with Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute about a couple of the, one of them is a coastal case. The other one's up in Boulder, Colorado, that we'll talk about in a little bit. I want to stick with this one in Plaquemines Parish, though, Daniel, because and I might be hearing it wrong, okay? And I might have been getting it wrong the entire time. But every time I hear about this case and they're suing based off the permitting, it makes it sound like Plaquemines Parish is suing based off of rules that they created.
It's very close. The state created the rules.
Okay.
Certainly.
Then why are they suing Chevron and not Louisiana?
Well, that's a great question. And it boils down to this. This came into a deposition a few years back that we were able to get that showed the state said, hey, because let's be clear, the state has the ability right now, today, and has since the first lawsuit was filed, has the ability to enforce the permits if there are violations of them. So that they could do right away. There's no need to involve an attorney. But they said in the deposition, we've outsourced the enforcement of these permits to outside counsel, the plaintiff's attorneys. So the answer, it seems, comes down to money as to why you would sue the oil and gas company and or anyone with an outside counsel.
And the other part of this is the war effort part of it, and the timing of when everything was dug out and all that other good stuff. Army keeps pretty good records of what they do, or our military keeps pretty good records of what they do. How is this not cut and dry to say, here, here, and here? It shows you exactly what built things out, and nature has taken its course since then to worsen an original plan.
Yeah, to those of us who have been studying this, it does seem very cut and dried. Why this has been over a decade in the courts is really hard to wrap your head around. But this is the exact reason that this federal officer statute was passed, so that efforts of the federal government weren't sidetracked by basically, I mean, look at what we're dealing with. We have judges elected by the people and supported in many cases in their political campaigns by the very attorneys who are arguing the case in front of them. And then, add to that, the attorneys will get to decide, or excuse me, the judges that are elected will get to decide how much these attorneys who support their political campaigns get in fees. So this is exactly the reason that this federal statute exists, and I think the Supreme Court is very clearly going to rule in favor of our argument and Chevron's.
We get Daniel Erspamer with us from the Pelican Institute. I guess the flip side of this is, not to make it look like a slip and fall case, but Chevron made $202 billion last year. A $750 million verdict sounds like that's, I don't want to say you could absorb it, but that kind of sounds like where this came from.
Yeah, I suspect so. I mean, and that's the other challenge of this is anyone who thinks this stops with these set of lawsuits, if these are successful, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona I'd like to show you.
Right.
This is, if successful, whoever has money is who's next, whether it's the chemical producers in Calcasieu and Cameron, or I heard somebody say yesterday the sugarcane farmers could be subject to some of these, arguments around coastal erosion and other things. So it just, it doesn't stop, especially if you can retroactively apply the law
right
at a time when the law didn't exist. That should terrify everyone in this country.
Well, and that's the part of it, Daniel, is if Chevron can absorb it, you're not just doling out you're not just doling out a verdict that Chevron can absorb. You're opening the Pandora's box for the pockets to get relatively more shallow.
You're absolutely right. And look, we've done an economic study on this. We're actually in the process of updating it. But 5 or 6 years ago, when we first did the study, the data showed that these lawsuits, just the lawsuits alone, isolating for all sorts of other factors, are hurting the state's economy to the tune of upwards of $100 million each and every year.
Yeah.
So whether or not Chevron can absorb, the implications of this are already being felt by, those are good quality jobs that get lost when oil and gas companies choose to move elsewhere.
And to be clear, it's not oceanfront property in Arizona. It's oceanfront property in Chauvin due to coastal erosion.
That's right.
Let's keep it Louisiana here. Give me some projections here. You think the Supreme Court's going to be kind of riding the ship on this one?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's hard to have a crystal ball with the Supreme Court, of course, but when you look at who else lined up in terms of supporting this case with briefs, the Solicitor General of the U.S., meaning the full weight of the U.S. government and the Trump administration, is supportive of Chevron's effort to move this into federal court. We had 6 attorneys general from around the country join a brief. 5 or 6 U.S. senators led by Ted Cruz and Mike Lee, a number of military leaders, groups like the Pelican Institute, America First Policy Institute. So all those line up to suggest, and the fact that the court took the case to begin with, suggests, I think, a pretty good chance that we'll be on the right side of this.
We get Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute on with us to talk a little bit about some briefs that were filed. Let's move over to Suncor versus Boulder County. What are the nuts and bolts of this one?
Yeah, just at a very high level, this is one of a series of cases where local government, stop us if this starts to sound familiar here, local government has engaged in lawfare, engaged in lawsuits against oil and gas companies. In this case, having no coastal property in Colorado, they're claiming effects of other climate change metrics. And so the county has continued to pursue these lawsuits. Of course, Colorado, not a particularly favorable legal environment for those of us from the more constitutionalist, originalist side. And again, similar argument, this has impacts on federalism, on the ideas of, what counts as, this is a lawsuit claiming impact across the world being decided theoretically by a local judge in Boulder, Colorado. These are the kinds of things that don't belong. These are not a local problem. This is something to be decided by the federal courts, by the whole country. So our argument has been that they really should be taken up by the U.S. Supreme Court and the federal court system because of federalism. This is one of those issues that isn't delegated to the states, that this is something that belongs in the federal government, which as a conservative, we don't say very often, but there are some very meaningful times where that's true.
Okay, walk me through like how this trickles upward, because how does a local handling of this case affect national policy when it comes to energy or national policy on any level? Or sorry, how does it other states' policy? How does it get outside of Colorado?
Yeah, it gets outside of Colorado for a variety of reasons, but one of those is that the rules or impact of losing a lawsuit, just as we see in Chevron, if you lose this case in Boulder, Colorado, that emboldens other states, other localities to take on similar cases, and just has a chilling effect across the industry. And the other thing is, these companies, almost all of them, operate globally.
Right.
And so changes in the business environment in one place have a dramatic impact on the business environment and the way they have to operate across the world. And again, the argument here is that some activity in Colorado has caused a global crisis. Again, that's not a case to be decided by a local court. That is alleging a global impact. Certainly, at least we can discuss a national impact.
Which is not to say that they will, but it says it opens that Pandora's box.
Absolutely. And look, this is the whole approach of the legal system, right? Is precedent gets established, and that's why we have courts of appeals, and that's why we have a Supreme Court ultimately to decide these kinds of cases in the most clear way possible, so that bad precedent doesn't stick and good precedent has a chance to flourish.
He is Daniel Erspamer from the Pelican Institute. Man, great update. I really appreciate the information. Always good to talk to you. We'll talk soon.
Same, my friend. Thanks. Have a great day.
You do the same as well. Yeah, a lot to unpack from that. That was a lot, and I appreciate him being so thorough about it. All right, we're coming up on 7:30 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Going to talk downtown in just a little bit. Hey, speaking of downtown, there is a Mathern's downtown. Now, I was planning fully to tell you about Mathern's on game day over there on the Nicholson Drive, directly across the street from Tiger Stadium. But while we got a sec, let me remind you about the Mathern's app instead. You could use it at the downtown location. You could use it at the Nicholson Drive location. You can use it at the Highland Road location. And if you have the Mathern's app, you get access to the deals of the week every week. And right now, the deal that just popped up, they refresh them on Wednesdays. Oh, God, I'm forever going to be a fat guy. Pints of Bluebell ice cream are 2 for $5 at Mathern's right now. That is one of the latest deals of the week. There's a number of other great treats along the way. For example, Craven Trail Mix is $1 off right now. Paper towels or toilet paper is all $1 off right now. The big one, of course, is the Bluebell when pints are 2 for $5. You get access to all of these when you have the app. Plus, you're in catch towards more groceries every time you shop using the Mathern's Rewards app. I feel like everything I own stinks. Sorry. Come on in. How are you? Okay. No reason for anybody to have a detail about my life. We bought a new washing machine not long ago because everything was like dingy coming out of the old one and like ended up leaking. Like, thank God I was trying to get rid of it. It was totally broken. But like I'm the last in my family to get access to it because it's like our middle child who's equal parts feral and neat freak. It's weird.
Oh, I'm not.
But like she's the one that like if there were nuclear fallout, she would be eating squirrels raw. Like
That's me.
okay. At the same time, she's constantly washing her clothes and her sheets and her towels. And so, but like she's been at it. My wife did, the son's laundry, and like I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait my turn. But like everything I have, I feel like it's just I don't know. I feel like a reach.
I don't smell it.
Thank God. Down low. You sure? Is that going to mess you up? No, I'm not using it. Thank you. I'll bring it right back. Take your time.
No, I'm like that. That just means she's a survivor. Like,
Totally.
You should be clean, can be clean, but when push comes to shove, like I'm gonna survive.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
That comes from growing up poor, where you just have to.
Well, I grew up pretty
I don't want to
poor.
say poor.
No, it's all relative.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where I couldn't, just tires on my face.
yeah. Well, like, so I went to a Catholic school for high school. I went to St. Paul's, and which everybody just assumes you got money. But like, the backstory is I spent my summers waxing floors in the school to reduce my tuition. I'd work in the cafeteria for like, tuition money.
I worked 90 hours a week during the summer to pay for college.
That's why I dropped out of college because I was working too much. The first
I
time.
don't think I could have done it. That's why I did so many hours in the summer, because I wouldn't have been able to do it all.
What'd you major in?
Architecture.
Cool.
That's my undergrad. My master's is in landscape architecture.
Give me 1 second. We'll be right back.
Yeah, there's something about middle kids. Like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Middle children.
Is that what it is? Because I am the middle child.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter Zoe. She's kind of the same way.
Yeah. I turned out okay.
Yeah, my brother Chase was the same way. It's cool. Like,
my parents a run for their money, but
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's my Zoe.
is yours the middle child?
Yes.
Okay. So you're right.
Yeah, there's
You're
something
right.
there's something about
The
it,
oldest
man.
one's the princess,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and the youngest one, we have no idea if he's going to save the world or destroy it. He's the smartest one, to be sure.
Really?
He's also the most quiet.
What is that
Yeah,
then?
very
Then
ugly.
then what is that?
It's just
Because my
that-
youngest daughter is the same way.
yeah, James-
Intelligent.
Well,
Like,
Carrie and Abby have very over-the-top personalities. Very outgoing, very social. Never quiet. James is the one who just like let him build his Legos and.
That was my brother, my little brother.
that's my Corlin. She's
Yeah.
not very. Like,
And he's very successful. He's a lawyer now.
yeah. Like my daughter Corlin, she's reading 3 grades ahead of her grade,
Yeah.
and it's like she's intelligent. Just doesn't.
That's my
If
brother.
she knows you, she's like very open. She's very goofy. If she doesn't, she's just very quiet.
That's my brother.
Very quiet.
He graduated top 5% of his law school in LSU.
Yeah. What is that? Like, that's
brilliant.
insane. Like
Uh-huh.
those similar stories.
It is interesting.
That is really fascinating.
We're relatively certain that, well, James is either going to be an engineer or a priest. We don't know which one yet. So
Well, some good options.
But yeah, both of those are good.
There's some good options.
Good
Like,
paths.
yeah, the running joke has been like, I was the last male Haldane, so I had to have a boy. So the running joke was, if you have a boy, he's just going to become a priest. So, like, well, the Haldane name hadn't done nothing, so.
Well, that's why I'm very insistent upon Hoffman, because I was my dad's boy.
Gotcha.
Like,
So
my
and
boy.
so my wife was they had a third hoping to have a boy, I guess, and then they had another girl, and so my in-laws had 3 girls, so there was no one to carry on the family name. So my wife's maiden name is Kerrigan, so we named our oldest daughter Kerrigan.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
there you go, bought another generation.
Mm-hmm. I've already told my son he has to give at least the middle name to his firstborn.
Yeah. .736 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time to check in on downtown because we haven't in forever. Whitney Hoffman Sayal heads up the Downtown Development District. How are you? We're going to move this right now.
Oh.
Boop, 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 boop. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing very well as well. What's been going on?
Man, a lot of everything.
Right.
We're really excited about Plan Baton Rouge 3.
Mhm.
We've got several projects that have went to bid, that we're moving forward to construction to increase our pedestrian and bicycle network. We're working to do lights underneath the interstate. We're getting new LED lights in a partnership with the city and energy, all within the Central Business District in downtown East. The list goes on and on.
Lights under the interstate. I want to talk about that in a little bit.
Sure.
Absolutely. In the meanwhile, though, I mean, are y'all just missing seeing the bowling shirts all around town?
Of course, our
You know?
businesses were really excited about having them here. They really did do a boost for all of our small businesses downtown, and they were just such a friendly group. It was great to have them, and we were blessed for about 4 or 5 months.
5 months, yeah, 5 months worth, and
we
the
bowled
cons-
together, you and I.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I'm not ashamed to say equally terrible. It was.
I got over 100 once.
So did I. I was good early, and then like tapered off as the night wore on, and you just get more and more blisters and whatnot.
Yep.
So, but definitely humbled by a lot of those league bowlers in
Yeah,
town, right?
I learned a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of projects going out to bid right now. Let's talk about the lights under the interstate, and we're going to get to Plan Baton Rouge Phase 3 in a little bit.
Sure.
But lights under the interstate. This is an unbelievably underrated idea.
Agreed.
If you get off of 110 at Florida, really making your way to or from downtown through any of the outlets that come through, when nighttime rolls around, it's like you can't see what's back out there and whatnot. And I don't want to talk about, we often talk about safety versus perception of safety.
Yes.
And darkness diminishes that perception.
Yes.
Light will, that is the disinfectant does the light, right? So talk to me a little bit about what's going into, like, what it's going to look like when it's over with, because I was just brighter is the answer, but the impacts are going to be what?
Well, as you mentioned, lighting is so important to the perception of safety and the reality, right? Like you're less likely to do something if you think somebody can see you.
Right.
That is why we worked with the city and getting the LED lights in the Central Business District. They have a different color even, right? That yellow sodium halide color doesn't feel as safe as a bright white light.
Right.
So that's the phase 1 of addressing some of our lighting issues downtown. And then underneath the interstate is there's opportunities to make it fun. And, the interstate long ago really divided our community, right? You look on one side of the interstate and the other, and you can clearly see the socioeconomic differences.
Yeah.
And so we think that, really trying to re-bridge that gap, which is this interstate infrastructure, by making it feel more safe, more friendly, more fun, is a way that we can help bridge our community.
Fun how? Are we doing like flashing colors and rotating through, like putting LEDs in the kids' room?
Yeah, a little bit. We'll see how far DOTD lets us push that. But so underneath the interstate, it's been a process, right? Because it's not something that we've done before, so people aren't familiar with it. But we're working with our city supportive of it. Visit Baton Rouge has contributed some funding to it, and we're working with DOTD to help get through that permitting process. I expect within the next month or so, we'll have a mock-up. We'll mock up a small piece of it, and then get some further feedback from DOTD, make sure everybody's comfortable with it. But yeah, it'll be artistic lighting, but keep in mind, artistic lighting also increases safety, right?
Well, all lighting increases safety.
Right. But
even the dingy yellow. And by the way, if you don't know the difference between the dingy yellow lighting and the newer, brighter stuff, drive Goodwood Boulevard after dark. Drive through Broadmoor. Drive through Sherwood on Goodwood Boulevard. The difference is all the difference. Once you see it, it's this is tangible.
Absolutely. But yeah, so underneath the interstate, we'll have colored lighting. We can light it up for, an LSU game, for a Southern game. We can change the colors, Christmas, all that kind of stuff. But just making even that entrance into downtown feel more comfortable.
Very cool stuff. Plan Baton Rouge Phase 3. Everybody's talking about an LSU arena. Everybody's talking about revamping the River Center and then making its way up to by Memorial Stadium and whatnot. There are other aspects of this plan that I think aren't getting enough attention yet because they are going to be big economic drivers. One of those ones that I've taken notice of is, I don't know if it's officially got the name, but the 4th Street facelift. I don't know if that's an official name or not. I'm kind of calling it that.
I like it.
But a chance to revamp a number of downtown buildings to bring them up, to make them more amenable, more palatable for potential, office use. As we're moving back, everybody continue to move back into the office and whatnot. Office space is going to be at a premium, hopefully very, very soon. What are we doing downtown, or what are the hopes and plans to do downtown to make sure that we're maximizing that effort?
Well, public infrastructure upgrades always increase private development, Right. And so we need to have a beautiful streetscape and all those sort of things to attract businesses. I think we already have a leg up, so to speak, in the fact that it's walkable, right? You can go downstairs, walk from your office, go to Mathern's, our
Yep.
favorite grocery store downtown.
Yes, yes.
And get your lunch and get your groceries even for that evening. Also, there's opportunities to really reflect in our culture. So they talked about a cultural corridor as well in Plan Baton Rouge 3, and we're looking to see how that connects to a civil rights trail that we're working on right now within the Beauregard and South Baton Rouge community. But yes, there's many aspects of this plan. The ones you mentioned, like the River Center and all of that, those are the big moves. But there's a lot of smaller moves that are needed to support those big moves.
So let's talk about. I want to start on third and then move over to fourth because I think there are two different aspects here. What are the plans? What are the hopes for Third Street?
Well, we are finishing up the DDD, a master plan that looks in detail, like what do the curbs look like? Where do we add more artistic elements on Third Street? How can we add more parklets? And that's wrapping up. We have funding to implement one.
What's a parklet?
Oh, a parklet. Well, you saw a lot of that explode during COVID, right? When people needed to eat outdoors or away from other people. But it's essentially using a piece of the right of way, expanding the sidewalk. To create more room for cafe seating and that kind of thing.
Okay. All right.
Like the vintage.
Okay. Or
like
Kocha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly.
Finally ate at Kocha last week.
Oh, it's amazing.
First time ever. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Very good. But utilizing some of that road space there. DC has it everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah. It's everywhere in Washington, D.C. They really, during COVID, pushed the boundaries outside to make sure that they could just stay in business. Now, going along with that, how do you do that without interfering with traffic?
Well, the great thing actually about 3rd Street is we have the right of way without removing any parking or loading zone.
Okay.
So the loading zone is wide enough to where sometimes people may be double parking, and that's not necessarily a legal thing to do.
No.
And so, that being that loading zone is so wide, we can take about half of it and still have the loading zone in the parking area.
All right. And the thing there is, there's always cars along, like when you go down 3rd, the right side of the street, and it's 3rd's a one way, so it's the right side of the street is just there's always it's a billion cars that way. Where do they go?
Well, they go where everybody else goes, right? We have parking garages. There's one on 3rd and Convention Street. Sometimes I just, for fun, when I'm walking down the street, go into the garages, go to the top floor, and just see how full it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not full, right? And so we do have parking garages. There are plenty of surface parking lots. Street parking, as long as we're active in reinforcing that turnover, there'll be more of that opportunity as well.
Yeah. The turnover for street parking needs to be better. And that's not on anybody that's only on the people who are parking. That's who move it along.
Yes.
Keep it moving. We got Whitney Hoffman Sayal from the Downtown Development District. All right, so that's on the street side end. What about the buildings themselves? Let me give you a perfect example and see if we can replicate it.
Okay.
What Visit Baton Rouge is doing right now, moving their headquarters to what is basically, my son has built more sturdier structures out of Legos than what they're taking on. But they're moving into an old shell of what used to be a building and bringing that building back to life. What are we doing to replicate that? Or are we? I mean, are we even to that part of this yet?
Well, Visit Baton Rouge 1 is obviously a community advocate and steward. And so they took on that building knowing what an incredible impact it would make to the environment, especially 100%. The visitor impact, right? Yeah. So we love our Visit Baton Rouge partners. But other buildings, there's opportunities if you develop incentives, right? Usually the issue is outfitting the building that fits the needs of the potential leaser, right? So we which is some to help cultivate small business. They work with, right? We need to figure out what are those modifications to that building that are needed, and how do we incentivize the property owner to do that?
Okay, now you got me excited. Now we're rolling here because How do you walk the balance of we want to modify to the user versus we want this to be turnkey? It's going to be more appealing to say you're move-in ready. You know you cross off the other two on your you cross off everything else on your list because this is the place.
Right.
This is your house hunter's number 2 house. Right. This is there's a balance though because everybody has their own wants, needs, and desires versus we got to have this built out. How are we walking that?
I mean, I think one, it's the relationship, right, with our real estate agents and our property owners. We have to make it to where downtown is where people want to be, and I think it already is in a lot of ways. We just need to push that message, right? And then as we push that message, we work with that feedback, right? Like what is it that you need?
Yeah.
But there are incentives, right? And I hope that we can work with the city parish and other partners to develop incentives to help those tenant improvements to help land those businesses.
How much more potential do we have in existing? I know this is such a we're gonna take it. All right, more potential do we have in existing structures to kind of revamp and retrofit back into them? Because I know downtown's bustling. I mean, we are doing well compared to other downtowns by far. Like, how much more room do we have before we have to start building again?
I think we need to start building now. I mean, I think that we have used our historic revitalization credits, right? And we've really seen those successful in 440, in the Commerce Building, in the River Mark. I mean, so many buildings. I can't even express how much those incentives helped revitalize downtown. But I do think that we're at a point where we need to look at how do we build more and how do we incentivize that.
Yes. I mean, because there's so much more potential. I mean, as great as we're doing, there is so much more potential to continue to build out. In the meanwhile, we got just about 2 minutes left. You mentioned historic. I was talking with somebody about this the other day. Do we have, and is there a desire for, as we continue with Plan Baton Rouge Phase 3, do we have like a historical expert that like can help those folks that are in the historical buildings maximize any tax credits that might be up there? That like someone to walk you through the entire process. Do we have someone that does that?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's different companies that, because I don't want to just point one out, but there's different companies and if somebody's interested in something like that and they come to our office, we can tell them about the various companies that we know and people that are doing that work.
Okay. All right, because I know it's a lot of hoops to jump through and there's a lot of logistics. But I didn't know if there was like one centralized location you go to. This is your guy right here. He knows the ins and outs.
Well, I will say the state Office of Culture, Recreation, and Tourism, the Historic Preservation Division.
Okay.
The staff there is incredibly helpful. In fact, I call them all the time, so that I can better understand when I'm talking to developers.
Very cool stuff. We got 2 minutes left with Whitney Hoffman Sayal from the Downtown Development District. The last 2 minutes are all yours. What are we, what's out there right now that you don't think people know enough about?
Well, as we talked about with the business, right? So when you look at the business makeup that we have, particularly in regards to restaurants and retail, it is sort of set up to accommodate the workforce, which was, we brought all the state workers down in the 90s. We built some office buildings. But, even in 2000, we didn't have any hotel rooms, right? Now we have 7, almost 1,200 rooms. We're talking about another convention center hotel. But there's not really any place for those visitors to shop. And they're looking for it, right? In addition to the fact that they're here, we run our Placer AI data to see what times people are where and what they're looking for. And, we need more restaurants that with hours that are on longer on the weekends, longer in the evenings. We need more retail. And I think the market is there. But we need to figure out a way to cultivate that experience. And I think that is so important when we talk about what we're doing with the River Center and the riverfront, because when people are looking at places to hold conventions, they're also looking at the area around it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't think that we can have, the build it and they will come. I think we need to look at, when we're building the River Center, how are we also creating that experience side by side and in tandem with the River Center?
Give me a quick comp of what that retail would look like.
Well, I think you need a cluster, right? We have our historic shopping corridors have always been 3rd Street and then Main Street, right? And you can see that in how the buildings face the street and all of that. So I think you need a small cluster. I think that it needs to accommodate what are visitors looking for. They're looking for something truly authentic, Louisiana, right, when they're coming into town. We also have a lot of the college football fans and those sort of things. And I think that there's opportunities, really, if you could land one that is a destination to where you're coming downtown just to experience this one thing, right? Like an American Girl doll store or something of that thing. And then you build some of satellite retail around it to where they feed off each other, and then it just builds.
She is Whitney Hoffman Sayal with the Downtown Development District. We always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Quick break. Come back. We have an abbreviated This Day in History next. Yeah, I ran us long there, JP. Sorry about that.
I love talking.
I know I say it every time, but you're not on enough. That was awesome. That was so good.
Well, so the week after next Friday is when somebody from the LSU Small Business Center is going to be in our office every Friday, open to help small businesses.
And I peeled off of the Innovation Center thing because I want that to be its own segment.
Yeah. And I want to bring Adam, who's with LSU, with me to come talk to you about it.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's a great partnership.
Yeah. And it's going to be, it's, for lack of a better term, an incubator.
And so he has several ideas and he did this work in Pensacola, Google Pensacola. They have done amazing things.
No, we were in Pensacola for vacation a couple years ago.
So he wants to replicate
Go
the
Blue
same
Wahoos.
thing here downtown, and we're starting with him just being, or someone from them being in the office talking to existing business or those that want to have more help with their small business so that they can locate downtown. But he has several ideas about, if we're successful, we keep building our relationship and partnership and help grow downtown. And man, I am so excited because I'm tired of sometimes just talking, right? Like he came, we talked, it's happening in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Like it's going to be awesome.
A million little pieces building up to something huge.
Yes.
Which would be, these are the nuts and bolts that I get excited about. Like, Revamp River Center is awesome, but like, with a host hotel is awesome, but like, we have to have the city around it in order for that to be an attraction.
Well, and not that I want to, but look, those things are huge projects, and they have huge milestones that they have to meet. That doesn't, we want these huge projects, of course, but the day-to-day DDD work is the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
And we have to keep pushing forward on that no matter what happens.
Well, yeah, so the other part of that is, even if everything goes to plan, my 4th grade son will probably be in high school or beyond before it's done.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
And so, like, as I'm, if you think in terms of, like, why do we want Baton Rouge to be better? Well, because we're raising our kids here. We want better lives here. Well, I don't want half my life here to be gone by the time we get somewhere. So
that's also why I like to celebrate the small successes. You're going to see me skipping down the road when the lights on under the interstate come on. It's going to be wild.
I'm not big on, like, in the sports world, the moral victory or whatever. Like, we lost, but we played well.
Yeah.
But the lights under the interstate are going to be a visible marker of.
You have no idea how much work that has taken. It's taken 2 years because DOT is not familiar with it. So we have to walk hand in hand.
We gotta get back, but dirty little secret. We're not in the historical registry yet. I guarantee. We're the original Baton Rouge show.
We're finishing up a historic survey for all of the CBD. So they're surveying your building. So at least you'll know information on it.
Okay.
When that report comes out.
Yeah, we're the original Baton Rouge Journal. I feel like it's more than 100 years old.
I'll let you know when that report finishes.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Always.
Same.
7:56 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. JP, I don't even apologize, man. When Whitney gets in here, I get fired up. So we ran long. Let's dive right into this day in history. Of course, presented by 5 Star Printing and Signs, 271-4096, 4096 or printshop5.com. Let's roll.
1787, the U.S. Constitution is signed by delegates at the Philadelphia Convention. That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Also, 1849, Harriet Tubman is the first to escape slavery in Maryland with 2 of her brothers.
Really?
Yes. 1969, media on both sides of the Atlantic were running stories that said Paul McCartney was dead. He was supposedly killed in a car accident in Scotland on November 9th, 1966, and that he had a double that had been taking his place for public appearances.
Can't
when
prove
in
him wrong.
fact,
The double's still there today.
Paul and his girlfriend, Jane Asher, were on vacation in Kenya at the time.
No, that's the double. Hey, by the way, 2 years prior to that, first ever Saints game.
That's right, it was.
Yep. John Gilliam ran back the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and everything went to doo-doo from there. And, well, here we are in 2025, and they look exactly the same.
Final score of that game was 27-13.
Correct.
Oof. 1972 TV series MASH debuts.
Yeah.
And runs for 11 years, garnering 14 Emmy Awards. So that's awesome.
That's all?
Yeah. It seemed like a lot longer, huh?
No, I mean, like, that's all the Emmy Awards. I feel like MASH was such a legendary
14?
show.
That's a lot.
Over the course of the whole show?
I guess.
Yeah. Should have been more. MASH was good.
Speaking of shows, 1976, NASA publicly unveils the Space Shuttle Enterprise in California, named after the Star Trek Enterprise, with the cast attending.
Okay.
And then
Birthdays?
1982. Birthdays. Hank Williams today.
Awesome.
We got Hank Williams and John Ritter.
All right.
Anybody else on your end?
I got Patrick Mahomes on my end.
Hey, there we go.
Yep.
There we go. Deaths, Red Skelton.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
I thought I had one more, but I don't.
All right. Well, what national day is it?
Constitution Day.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, really not going to trump that with anything else. Oh, one more birthday. That would be Phil Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. That is, of course, This Day in History, presented by 5 Star Printing and Signs. Actually, give Danny a call if you're looking to refresh anything around your office. Talk about your business cards. Talking about your signage on your walls. Literally anything printed, he's got you covered. And if you visit printshop5.com, printshop5.com, branding is more important now than ever. Being front and center wherever you can get your brand out there, top of mind awareness is what it's all about. You're not going to have closed loop ROI in your branding, but you are going to have your name out there. You are, they say out of sight, out of mind, right? No. Put your logo on a thermal mug. Put your logo on a koozie. Put your logo on whatever you need at printshop5.com. It is 8 o'clock. Hour 3 is next. All right. I haven't even been in Facebook today. It's been a busy. Dude, seriously, I feel like I stink. It's this shirt. Like anything that I washed in the old washing machine before I got rid of it just I don't know, man. Ugh.
I don't smell you.
Well, that's good, but you're like way the hell over there.
You want me to move closer?
No, I don't want you to move. Don't make it weird. No, do not come. Does the shirt stink? Don't be okay. Not really? That's not reassuring.
You really don't.
Not
like,
really.
I mean, like, not really. No, you really
Maybe
don't.
a little.
Like, I'm serious. Like, I would tell you.
Okay, I appreciate
you don't.
that.
I really don't. I'm also nose blind. I probably should tell you that now.
You're no help to me at all. No help at all. Is there anything we can bump to get in here quicker? Can we blow out weather?
I mean, I could.
Let's blow out weather. Number one, I don't want to leave Secretary Bourgeois sitting on hold any longer than she absolutely has to be. And number two, I want as much time with her as possible because yesterday was awesome and she continues to kick ass. Oh, bro, I found out last night. I'm not gonna get to go to my 30-year reunion.
Why?
Well, because it was.
I don't want to pry.
No. So I already knew I wasn't going to the stuff on Saturday night because of LSU football. I've got to work, but I thought I could go back to St. Paul's on Friday night for the game and then the party afterwards. But Abby's playing basketball on Friday night now.
Oh yeah,
I know.
Can't miss that, man.
I know. So super bummed. Yo, what's this about? I don't know who any of these people are, except for Moon and Charlie Kirk. Oh, Moon's back in next Wednesday, by the way. He'll be in town next Wednesday.
Okay, cool. Always a good time. Yeah, I'll blow out weather and then just go.
Yes, please. Actually, can you blow out the third hour open and just play a regular bumper so I can take it without waiting 30 seconds?
Yeah.
All right.
Shout out to Byron. Urination and shirt sniffing, and yet I remain a fan. That's what you came here for, Byron.
Bro, you don't get this on any other talk show.
No.
No other news talk show out there. You point me to another radio show that talks about peeing on university signs.
That's right. We have a very good balance on this show. We have a tremendous balance.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can.
The homeschool piss.
From assassinations to the homeschool pisser, dude, we cover it all.
We're all over the place, man. Robert Redford's worst movies.
I'm not going to get that anywhere else. Dare you to try.
.805 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. We're starting you off at 74 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Brian here with you, JP producing. Wasting no time. Let's get back into it. Yesterday, Governor Jeff Landry announced a series of programs that he says will give a, quote, whole government approach to sustaining ongoing economic development in the state. Louisiana's Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois was on hand. She's heading a lot of this up, and she joins us right now. Secretary Bourgeois, good morning. Welcome back to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm great, Brian. Thanks for having me this morning.
No, could not be happier to have you on. It feels like, and I don't want to overstate things, but it feels like we're finally able to capitalize on momentum, success begetting success. It feels like that's where we're headed right now. Walk us through everything that was announced yesterday.
Yeah, so I think you're exactly right. You actually summarized really well the intention of what we did yesterday, in that, when Governor Landry was running, and even in his inauguration speech, he talked about the importance of investing in existing Louisiana businesses, the businesses and industry who have already built the economy of the state, who have already taken risk. And so for the last 19, 20 months, as we've been doing all the great things we've been doing, a lot of the attention has been on the Metas, the Hyundais, the incredible growth in the LNG industry, because those were the really big ones that we were working, but we never lost sight of the reality that our commitment is to our existing Louisiana businesses. Mm-hmm. So yesterday was 4 initiatives, and we can walk through them one at a time or just talk in general, but were 4 initiatives to highlight, reemphasize, ensure, and a lot of other words, that commitment to building, growing, supporting and enhancing our Louisiana existing business infrastructure to make sure they get to take advantage of the same prosperity that we're trying to create all across the state. So
let's do them one at a time, but kind of bullet point them, because we only have you for a couple minutes this morning, and we need to schedule a longer period of time to just really give you room to run. But bullet point the 4 initiatives for me.
Right. So the first one we launched yesterday is what we're calling Source Louisiana. It's a website, sourcelouisiana.com, because you would think what I'm about to describe is simple and already existed, and it didn't. And when a Meta or a Hyundai or Woodside comes to the state and says, we would like to use Louisiana contractors, Louisiana vendors, Louisiana suppliers, can you give us a list? Before yesterday, I didn't have one, right? I couldn't say yes. So we in our shop have been working really aggressively to identify a platform where we can create that. So Source Louisiana is now a platform for Louisiana businesses and suppliers to go make sure they're already in it. This is all just data that was scooped from public records, right? So a lot of it's not. We need people to verify it. We need people to update it. We need people who own businesses in Louisiana or vendors in Louisiana to go on, verify their information, and make sure that it's accurate so we can provide it to all these new industries we're bringing. So
how big Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So that's okay. I was just going to remind everyone that is sourcelouisiana.com.
How big of a forehead slap was that? I mean, to think that didn't exist before. If we could put certified Louisiana on a package of frozen crawfish, how did we not have this?
Right. We've been creating it almost manually for the big ones, because it was important to us as an administration. We've been creating it for Meta. Companies would call in and say, it's been great. The governor's been taking phone calls himself saying, how do I make sure Meta knows I provide XYZ service? And so we have been one-off managing this almost on a hand-to-hand combat type format. And so we told our people, go find the right platform to make this work. So that is what we're doing. And you're right, a forehead slap is a great description, but that's okay. We're moving forward, and it's going to be a great tool for Louisiana businesses to get in front of not just those companies coming to Louisiana, but companies everywhere.
We got Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois with us. Okay, point 2 was?
Point 2 is our Louisiana driver tour. So, inside the business, of economic development, we have something that we call driver companies. They're companies that have either a certain number of employees or a big multiplier effect on what they do, impact on their local economies, et cetera. And so we've identified about 2,500 companies in Louisiana that are considered driver companies that are driving the Louisiana economy. And we as a department have now committed to seeing in-person, one-on-one, 800 of those in 1 year's time. And we launch we're starting that with a tour next week where we'll be all over the state. I will be, and a lot of our team members will be all over the state, sitting down with Louisiana businesses saying, are you going to expand here? Do you have plans to? What can we do specifically to move the needle for you? And as importantly, what are you finding from a barrier perspective that we can eliminate for you so you can be successful here? So we will do 800 of those visits by the end of this fiscal year, just to reemphasize that commitment to Louisiana businesses. So that's our Driving Louisiana Opportunity Tour, starts next week. That was the second one we launched.
And the third, I want to dig deeper into all these, but let's keep it moving because I know you got a meeting to get to.
That's right. So the third one is sort of how the governor titled this whole thing. We've been operating for these last 20 months under something that we call a whole of government approach. And I will tell you, the reason we did that is sort of design or default, right? It's what we did to land Meta. From day one, when Meta came to us and they got in front of the governor got his entire cabinet in a room, and said, Susan, hand out our NDAs, because, that's what you have to do in this process. And we all signed NDAs. And then everyone in the cabinet who had a role in making sure we landed Meta was pulling on the rope at the same time. Yep. And we have had multiple people, not the least of which was Mark Zuckerberg telling Jeff Landry that if you can make that a formal process, if you can sort of package that gives Louisiana a competitive advantage that you shouldn't miss. So he issued yesterday an executive order creating Project Lightning Speed is what we're calling it, but basically formalizing those structures that we used almost accidentally, intentionally, but without a structure, right, during Meta, formalizing that process. So when LED is trying to land a big project for Louisiana, it's not LED working in a silo. It's the entire government working together to move those projects across the finish line. So that was our whole of government executive order.
When it comes to the whole of government, you basically just added the W to the first word.
That's funny. Yeah, that's great. Exactly.
I've been sitting on that one since I read the press release.
I'm going to use that one at some point.
It's yours.
Or maybe at a lot of points, right? At any rate, so that was the third big announcement yesterday. And then the fourth one is that the governor has basically instructed us and our team at LED to look at all the incentives that we currently offer and make sure that we are positioning them so that the companies that are taking advantage of our incentives, that make us competitive, are also therefore passing that kind of business along to Louisiana vendors. So how do we ensure that all of the incentives we currently offer sweeten the opportunity, right, the reality for the Metas, the Hyundais, the Woodsides, the Venture Globals, you name them, right, to use local Louisiana vendors, local Louisiana contractors to get their sub work done. And so we will be researching that, looking at what other states do, again, to not just maintain our competitive advantage, but to position our Louisiana small and mid-sized businesses as competitively as anyone in the country.
Now, how do we meld part 4 and part 1 back together to where it's not just packages, it's people?
That's exactly right. And so part 1 is, right, it's the database. It's the simple. I mean, we're going to launch a whole marketing campaign around this. Every Louisiana business needs to know that they need to go on and just verify the information because, again, this platform we're using just scrubs it from public documents, right? And so I'll give you a perfect example. When we were piloting this thing, I put my husband's business in just to see. It had an old address, a 4-year-old address. It had a wrong phone number. So, right, those are the kinds of things, and it didn't list all of the qualifications that the company had. By the way, he sold the company. There's no favoritism here. He doesn't own it anymore. But it was a great pilot for me because it was just not right. It wasn't completely wrong, but it wasn't accurate. So every Louisiana business owner, every Louisiana vendor needs to just make sure they go in there and make sure the information is correct so we can hand it to those bigger contractors, to those bigger projects and say, it's obviously not a printed list. Here's the electronic platform you need to make sure our quality Louisiana vendors and suppliers are supporting your project.
She is Economic Development Secretary Susan Bourgeois. I'll hit you up offline to get take a deeper dive next week. In the meanwhile, I promise to get you out by 8:15, and we're doing exactly that.
Great. Appreciate you very much,
Always.
Brian.
We'll talk soon. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate that. We are at 8:15 at Talk 107.3 FM. Yeah, I stick with it. We stay on time. She's got an 8:15. She's got an 8:15 meeting, and I was like, I can do this. I mean, I got it down to the last 3 seconds, but
nonetheless,
we got that done.
Hey.
By the way, it might be the first time I've talked to her where she didn't squeeze in the phrase "moving at the speed of business."
All right.
I don't know. Is she slipping, or are we all adapting? I don't know. Obviously not slipping with yesterday's announcement. We are at 8:15 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We are due up for a break. We're going to talk ball moss when we come back. Ball moss. What is it? It's killing our oak trees is what it is. We'll get the deeper dive in just a little bit from Metro Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. Before we take that break, though, got to remind you about the folks at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is their website. Why am I going to FlyBTR.com? Because you're a Tiger fan. And there's a couple of away games that the Baton Rouge Metro Airport has added direct flights for. Which away games are we talking about? How about going to Nashville to see LSU take on Vanderbilt? I mean, think about that. Nashville's bumping, right? Everybody in that, Nashville is the hottest scene out there right now. Add to it the fact that the Commodores are actually good. This is going to be a good game. Diego Pavia, amazing. Vanderbilt playing like they haven't in a long time. So you're going to get a great experience in Nashville. You're going to get a great experience with the game itself, and you can fly right out of our own backyard, flybtr.com. How about Birmingham? When LSU takes on Alabama, I mean, you got to go from Birmingham to Tuscaloosa. I get that. I wouldn't trust the Tuscaloosa airport, so we'll go to Birmingham. Direct flight, flybtr.com. How about, Oklahoma City when it's time to take on the Sooners? FlyBTR.com is your go-to for all of these. Check them out online, flybtr.com. Hello. Lieutenant Governor. He's in Canada right now. We're going to pre-record for tomorrow if we can get this done. Yeah. Shoring up relationships with our largest international tourism outlet. Canadians used to come to Louisiana in droves. It was huge. Yeah. When I worked in hotels, it was literally 4 times a week we'd have tour buses coming through. They stay they land in New Orleans. They do 2 nights in New Orleans. They come to Baton Rouge. They do a night in Baton Rouge. They do the plantations. Then they go to Lafayette. So, yeah. Is that her now? No. Okay. We're at 8:18 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Want to welcome back to the studio Metro Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. It's been forever. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
Doing very well. It's we haven't had you in here in a while.
It's been a while. It feels like a couple of weeks, right? This time flies so quickly, but yes, it's been a little while. So thanks for having me.
It was either the last time you were on or the time before that. You mentioned something, and it kind of stuck in the back of my head a little bit, and I hadn't thought about it much. But you mentioned something called ball moss, and it's growing on oak trees on LSU's campus and wherever else.
Absolutely.
And it's just, you mentioned you're not going to, this is not a sexy topic.
Not at all.
You're not going to pay a whole lot of attention to it. And honestly, I was like, I kind of do pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And then over the last 2 weeks, I've just randomly in 3 different conversations.
Wow.
It's come up that there is a growing concern that this is going to, and look, I don't want to make this sound like a tree hugging segment,
right?
Or like a horticulture segment. I want to think about our culture, and I want to think about our backyard, and I want to think of anybody out there who's ever had a tree removed from their yard. What happens once that tree is gone?
Absolutely.
Those trees suck up water.
Yes.
Those trees hold our
yes.
They hold, the roots hold everything together.
Right.
So tell me all about ball moss and what it does.
So, ball moss it's not just the LSU oaks. It's also the crepe myrtles downtown and really around in trees throughout the parish. And I've even had some friends in Ascension Parish tell me they found it in their trees. It is a plant. I think it's in the bromeliad family. We think of it as a parasite, but it's not parasitic.
Right.
If you know what Spanish moss looks like, imagine you crumple Spanish moss into a ball, and that's what ball moss looks like.
Okay.
So it looks like Spanish moss.
What is it doing to the trees?
So what is happening is as urban trees in a city have stress, which all urban trees have stress, and then add in drought. We've had some droughts. The trees become less healthy. Fewer leaves. They just generally are under stress. And that provides the perfect atmosphere or environment for the ball moss to replicate quickly and cover the limbs of the trees. And then that starts to starve the trees for water, for light. And then that's when you start to see limbs falling off trees. And if you go downtown around the Capitol, go look at the crepe myrtles. You see ball moss falling off everywhere. You'll see limbs falling off the crepe myrtles. Same at LSU. Once you see it, you can't stop seeing it.
Now, I obviously do not have a background in any kind of plant scientist.
Right. Me neither.
I don't. Horticulture is not really my thing.
Not at all.
But as I understand it, the crepe myrtles are kind of the super spreaders of this thing.
So crepe myrtles are very, they're very susceptible to it. Right. They're smaller. And the
but
crepe
it gets
myrtles
from the crepe myrtle to everything else easier.
Entirely possible.
Okay.
Entirely possible. That has not been part of our discussions, but you may have had a discussion with someone that I need to talk to.
So,
but certainly, the crepe myrtles have been wonderful hosts for it downtown.
Yes.
And we have a lot of crepe myrtles, and the crepe myrtles are very susceptible.
Yeah. And by the way, anything that can get rid of all the crepe myrtles, I'm here for. I'm not a crepe myrtle fan.
No. Oh
No, no. I have to park under a crepe myrtle.
I understand.
And yeah,
I get it. You're not the first person who's expressed that to me.
Between the allergies and what it does to the birds, you know what? It's,
yes,
yeah,
I understand. They are so pretty downtown, though, when they're in bloom. And
I'm here for the oak trees, though, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Absolutely.
It's not just about it's not just about it's the first line of the alma mater, right? No. It's about, I'm thinking back to 2016 and I'm thinking back to May of 2021.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have that root structure sucking up water out of the ground, how much worse is our runoff going to be?
Yes.
How much worse is more susceptible to flooding would we be?
Our oak trees definitely soak up a lot of water. They store a lot of water. The other thing you have to really note is that the oak trees at LSU, a lot of those were planted by steel burden. Those are part of our heritage and our history. Yeah. And not only, really, I think one of the differentiators for us at LSU, I mean, when you walk on LSU's campus, it is just stunning. And everybody I've ever, brought onto campus who'd never been there before, they're just blown away by the oak trees. So take those oak trees out, LSU looks very, very different, my friend. Very, very different.
It would look like Virginia Tech.
Absolutely.
Sterile campus.
Right. No,
it was one of the ones when we were touring campuses for Kerrigan.
Right.
It was just the campus was like, oh, look, a lot of pretty brick buildings, but this thing's just sterile. There's nothing going on here.
Absolutely.
When you walk on LSU's campus and you have that nice breeze because you're under an oak tree.
Oh,
and
the shade.
The
squirrels playing in the oak trees.
Right.
The azaleas underneath the oak trees. I mean, it's really it's just gorgeous. And like I said, it's part of our culture. It's part of our heritage. It's part of our ecosystem.
Yeah.
And an important part.
Absolutely.
So what I've learned in this process, we have a ball moss abatement commission that has met twice, and we'll be meeting again on October the 6th. Committee members, I'll send that email to them today. I just scheduled it yesterday, Monday, October the 6th. And so we've convened a group in town of professors from LSU, people with city parish, people with downtown development district, and we actually have some activists, some ball moss concerned activists.
Okay.
Judy Foyle and Scott Purdon have been in this battle for a long time. Mm-hmm. Baton Rouge Green, and have taken a look at the research and had some really good advice. And we're navigating a path forward to treat ball moss not only at LSU but hopefully downtown as well.
Right.
And
so treat when you talk about treating it, you're talking about killing off the ball moss without hurting the tree.
Absolutely.
Now the hindrances here seem to be twofold. The first one could be the height.
Yes.
And the second being just how extensive it is.
Absolutely.
So what are we looking at for possible solutions?
So interesting, if you start Googling ball moss, you'll see articles in like 2017, 2018 when this is first talked about. Mm-hmm. And at that time or shortly thereafter, both the city parish and LSU started to look at it, and they were doing a manual removal, which takes forever.
Physically pulling the moss off the tree?
Yes, it takes forever. And then you have to bag it or burn it because the seeds spread so easily.
Right.
You can't just throw it on a trash pile. So that became not practical.
Right.
So the most recent information we have gotten from our friends at LSU is that, believe it or not, baking soda is the best treatment.
Okay.
A baking soda water mixture that, so in 2017, 2018, you would have hand sprayer applied that.
Right.
But now, here's the amazing thing about technology. It's come to the point where drones can be used to spray things like treat the LSU lakes. Mm-hmm. There's a drone that's been treating the LSU lakes. Drones can be used to treat the oaks at LSU and to start to beat back the ball moss.
Do we know how it first got here?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just native. It's native throughout the Gulf states. So everywhere from Texas all the way over to the Florida Panhandle.
Okay.
Other places have problems with it, but I haven't found anybody who's really attacking it as aggressively as we are right now, or planning to attack it as aggressively.
Well, and how much of this is we're still playing makeup ground from like the drought of 2 years ago being an accelerant of it?
I think absolutely 100%. I haven't had anybody from academia tell me that, but my gut tells me that we've had several droughts, and that 2 years ago was bad.
Yeah, when we had the wildfires everywhere.
Was that 100 days over 100 degrees? I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Not just the temperatures, but the wildfires that were everywhere. Mike Strain's office was out there.
It was bad.
Yeah,
it was bad. I do think that was an accelerant.
Okay,
yes.
So where it stands right now, it's looking like we're on the precipice of being on the turning point for this to be like where we start to turn the corner in the fight?
Right. I hope so. I mean, what I would tell you right now is we're making a plan.
Okay.
Had a good meeting at LSU a couple of weeks ago. Hoping that the LSU Foundation, maybe going to get involved as well. People definitely sponsor trees or do memorials with the LSU Oaks. I mean, we're going to have to find some funding for this.
Sure.
So it's not in anybody's budget for the year.
Right.
And we don't know yet really what it's going to cost. So we're in the earliest stages, but what looked really, really difficult several years ago now looks practical and possible.
And it's as simple as baking soda and water.
It's a baking soda water mixture.
It's
Sure.
incredible.
Yeah, you can Google
thought there
it.
would have been a whole lot of complex chemical solutions that I can't pronounce.
So there are some chemical solutions. There's one I think called Coside. There is another professor at LSU who's been working on like a clove oil mixture. I don't know. There have been people who've been trying to create other mixtures, but the research says that the sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, is the best. And look, the great thing is, I mean, think about having to spray the Oaks at LSU. Think about having to spray the crepe myrtles downtown. There are people and cars and plants and activity underneath and around these trees at all time. Really, really, really difficult to find a time to spray a chemical when you're not spraying it on cars or people aren't breathing it in. Well, baking soda, I mean, it's not completely harmless, especially to some plants. They'll have to be kind of monitored. Right. It could change the soil around some plants, but for the most part, it's fine. I mean, it's harmless.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's safe for the trees.
It's safe for the trees, absolutely. Yeah. But look, Brian, the other thing is this will not be a one and done. What we're being told is that the spraying will have to happen every year for 3 years in a row to likely see a measurable difference. Okay. And then after that, there'll have to be ongoing maintenance, which really is one of the things that I keep realizing about city parish government and life in my 50s. Maintenance, right? Yeah. It's maintenance. Yeah. That's where we need to invest a lot of time and energy.
Well, and that's where we're absolutely terrible at in Louisiana. We do like the one and dones.
We do. We like things splashy.
Yeah.
And look, I'm becoming more and more like my mother. I'm now in love with trees, and I'm worried about the birds and the squirrels and all the animals. Well, and like my dad, maintenance.
Well, and look, you could take if you take it or leave it on the homeless squirrels, that's one thing. But think about to me, it's about the flooding. To me, it's about the runoff. To me, it's about like what you would have to do to replace that level of root infrastructure in the ground to where we're not one constant landslide. Mudslide, excuse me.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Plus, I mean, just the overall benefit. Think about the shade. Think about the cooling of the city that these trees do, and of course, cleaning the air. I mean, there are a lot of benefits. So. It's something worth investing time, energy, and money into.
She is Metro Councilwoman Laurie White Adams. We always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
Here's news. All right.
Thank you.
No, absolutely. Jennifer Richardson and Marie Constantine were the two people I was talking to on Sunday.
Okay, very good. So what were they? I haven't talked to either one of them.
I was narrating a concert at the St. Joseph Cathedral, butchering that horribly, and they recorded the whole thing, and I'm going to look like a moron for the ages because I know Latin's hard, and I had a couple of hours to prep, and like my problem is like no matter how hard I try, I'm still from Metairie, so my Latin is more like Yatin.
I love it. Okay, good. It's good to know that both of them have taken interest. I'm sure Jennifer, in her cleanup efforts, has seen it out and about. Yeah. And Marie, of course, has awareness of.
Marie is the pinnacle of conservancy here in LA.
Yes.
With her photographs of the plastic and like everything over at the Burton Center.
Yes. And, no, that's good. I'll reach out to both of them. I'd like to talk with them. So we need all the engagement we can get. So thank you. Good to see you. Take care. Y'all have a great day, guys.
Hey, JP, we might have a 9 o'clock interview coming. Working on getting confirmed. The lieutenant governor's in Canada. Going to talk tourism with us.
Your phones might not work this morning.
Oh, no.
What time is she supposed to be calling?
About 3 minutes from now. We've had 2 phone interviews already this morning.
I know. It's something that just
No, she's on. Oh, that's you calling. Okay. You didn't do it.
I mean, I didn't do it. I was fixing. We're trying to get the Tiger Studio done.
It's
He was fixing one thing, and it's messed up all.
What if we call out?
It gives you a busy signal. You can try. Is your phone ringing? How can you?
I got it on silent.
Oh.
Oh, you couldn't see it. Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. I guess so. You can hear it. Okay. See if you can dial out. I'm so sorry, guys.
All right. I'm trying to run down her cell phone number because I do everything through her press person. All right. Take this number down. .837 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hey, Talk 107.3 is your new home for Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report. Get live in-game updates, a full statewide scoreboard, and check-ins with correspondents from every corner of the state. Friday nights this fall from 6 to 11 p.m. Yes, that is 5 solid hours of high school football coverage. It's Ken Trahan's original Prep Football Report, presented locally by Dr. Pepper and the Harold Perkins Jr. tuition program on Talk 107.3 FM. Okay, it is time for DC Current. Let's roll. Well, welcome back to the show, Congresswoman Julia Letlow. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Brian. I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well as well. Look, we got a couple of different things to get to this morning, but before I get to anything else, it was a rough week last week with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and I've just been trying to pick everybody's brain a little bit to get their own takes. Give me your walk me through the gut reaction when it happened and how your feelings have kind of evolved over the last few days.
Sure. Well, Charlie Kirk's death was obviously just horrific and tragic. And I, like everyone else, am praying for his wife, Erica, and their 2 babies. I know a little bit about that. Just my heart is with her as she walks this unimaginable journey that she's about to go on. But I know that, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted, and he's right there with her walking that. So, as far as political disputes, Brian, violence is never the answer. And I'm happy that law enforcement captured the suspect and they continue to gather all the information. But, also, Brian, as a former higher education professional, I can't help but admire what Charlie did to engage students on college campuses. It was so refreshing to see so many students engaged, and he made, he paved the way for a lot of conservatives to feel like there's a place for them in higher education, and there always has been, and there is a place for them to make sure that their voices are heard. And, we have to get back to treating each other with civility and with respect. People with all different beliefs have to tone down the rhetoric and begin to really respect one another again. I have friends on both sides of the aisle, and I'm committed to doing my part in helping to lower the temperature in our politics. I don't ever want to be part of the problem, Brian.
Well, and that to go along with that is when you see something like this happen, there will be inevitable fallout to where people will stop talking. And ultimately, Congresswoman, when people stop talking, that's when it gets worse.
Yeah, exactly. And I've gone back. I wasn't really familiar with Charlie Kirk, but I've gone back and watched a lot of his debates. And that's really what he preached is, hey, we can differ in beliefs and opinions and even his own moral compass, but we have to be able to speak about it and talk about it in a respectful manner. And I think that's what he was really trying to do is open up those places for conversation. And what better place, Brian, than in academia?
Right.
I spent my whole life trying to encourage that healthy dialogue because it is important to know that not everybody believes the same way that you do, but to have a respectful, open dialogue about it is what this democracy was founded on. We have to get back to that. I'm right there with you on that.
Well, and speaking of academia, Turning Point's LSU chapter held a vigil for Charlie on Friday night. I had the opportunity to attend. And A, I didn't realize it was going to be as emotional as it was. B, I didn't realize that Speaker Johnson and Charlie Kirk were as close as they were. And C, we did a little social media stuff afterwards, and I was asking people as they were leaving the event, in one sentence, what did Charlie Kirk mean to you? And the overwhelming majority of responses involved the word courage. More specifically, courage to be myself. When you talk about as you're finding yourself as a teen growing into an adult, that metamorphosis that is college, as you kind of shed off the, I'm no longer, not no longer my parents' child, but I'm becoming my own self here. The courage to become yourself is unbelievably fleeting. It's hard to grasp. And the fact that he could do that for so many people through an influence that was not face-to-face on a daily basis, but just, absorbing his content so regularly, I don't know. It's weighed heavy on me since then because of the impact he's had in others.
Yeah, it really struck a chord with these students. I, like you, wanted to go ask them, what was it about him that inspired you to speak up and speak out? And I really think, Brian, that this is a reflection point for higher education. I've spoken many times that I served on that Education Workforce Committee, a famous committee hearing where the elite presidents were kind of exposed for anti-Semitism on campuses, and I just think this is a time for us to really have some difficult conversations about where we want higher education and academia to go from this point forward. I think a lot of parents don't send their kids to college to face indoctrination, and they're worried about it. I hear parents talking about it. But, I've been on the other side of higher education. I know some of the most amazing professors. We were taught that you don't express your own political views in the classroom. And, later on in life, I had these incredible professors, and I learned later that we didn't share the same beliefs or we weren't on the same side of the aisle, but I never knew it in the classroom. And we've got to get back to that, Brian. We really do.
Absolutely. We're talking with Congresswoman Julia Letlow. I want to pivot the conversation slightly because I still want to talk about political discourse, but I want to move it over to your world in Congress there. Because I feel like we don't get enough of the behind the scenes and I feel like the more we get of the behind the scenes, the more the behind the scenes is going to disappear. So I don't want more of the behind the scenes, but what we see coming from Congress is often contentious. What we see coming from Congress is also that 30-second, splash social media post that's going to gin up the base. And I'm air quoting that. But y'all do a lot of work that is collaborative. Y'all do a lot of work that is not clickbait. Y'all do a lot of work where you do work on the other, work with those on the other side of the aisle. Why can't that work translate more, down the pipeline than the, owning the libs does?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think we've veered away from that. And, I can get into what's popular with people, clickbait, people want controversy. They want to read about that.
Right.
I don't really get, there's not a lot of attention, when people go out and say, hey, I worked across the aisle to get this bill through. And this is what it's going to do for my district. But Brian, I think we have to get back to that. And I'm committed to going back to making sure those stories are told because they're powerful. And we do. I think about this op-ed I wrote about Lindy Boggs, and that was truly her service and spirit was to make sure that she could deliver for all of Louisiana. And, we have that room off of Statutory Hall that's appropriately named after her, but it's for women to go and women from both sides of the aisle. And I've formed so many relationships in that room, Brian. Mm-hmm. And we don't yell at each other. We're not tweeting at each other.
Right.
We're actually talking about our hopes and dreams for our kids and how we can work together because our country's depending on it. So this really is a pivotal point, I think, in how we're going to reshape the future moving forward.
We got Congresswoman Julia Letlow on with us. This is DC Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Got a couple more things we got to cover within this segment, but can we talk a little bit about funding the government and keeping things open? Are we really looking at the possibility of a closure again?
Yeah, as an appropriator, this is my job. I have to keep the government open, and we passed all 12 of our individual bills out of committee. Unfortunately, leadership says we need a little bit more time to come to an agreement, again, with the other side to make sure that we can get those bills all the way through. So they're asking for a continuing resolution through November, right up before Thanksgiving, to be able to work out those bills. And I have good faith that will happen. But again, my job is to make sure that our appropriations bills go through. They call it regular order. Mm-hmm. We have to get back to that, Brian. That's what the people sent us up here to do. We need to manage our budget just like people have to manage their household budgets. So I'm going to be fighting for that as long as I can up here.
What are a couple of the sticking points right now? Like, is there anything that's specifically that's glaring, or is it just political digging in of the heels?
Yeah, everybody has their own issues, and I don't discredit them because every district is different, and people care about different things, and so I don't hold that against anybody who is trying to do their best to represent their district and make sure that their funding or cutting back is well represented. But at some point, you do have to give a little bit. You can't dig your heels in so far that you shut down our government and our military doesn't get paid. And I mean, those are big consequences for political gain. So I'm never a fan of shutting down the government, ever.
Walk me through timelines, like what we're up against here, what needs to happen and when.
Yeah, so I believe the Speaker, as quickly as he learns that he has the votes to pass the CR through the House, he'll call the vote. It's made it through rules, and we are ready to go on our side. That way the Senate will have time to tackle it over on their side, hopefully before they leave and people head out to Charlie Kirk's funeral in Arizona. So it's a quick turnaround, a quick timeline to get the CR done, but hope springs eternal.
Well, speaking along with that, I mean, Charlie Kirk aside, what's the actual deadline before we would look at a potential shutdown?
Oh, yeah, September 30th
okay.
is the deadline.
Okay. Because it's just, and we see it time and again. A lot of us get jaded and say I'm sure something will happen at the 11th hour that nobody likes, but that has kind of become the nature of things. On the likability scale, how do you think it's going to play? Do you think we'll get something that we can live with?
Yeah, we should. The Republicans are in charge right now.
Right.
So, yes, we absolutely should control this and the narrative. But again, we have to get to a place where Democrats will come to the table and communicate with us and have something that we can all live moving forward. That's the way the Founding Fathers set it up. That's the way it should work.
We've got just 1 minute left with Congresswoman Julia Letlow, D.C. Current, presented by the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. Congresswoman, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you. And I look, I've been through this dance a million times before, so don't worry about it. I got to ask, are you running for Senate?
Oh, Brian, I had a feeling this question was coming, but it has been the honor of my lifetime, truly. I mean that sincerely, to serve the people of the 5th. And that is exactly what I'm focused on, my job at hand.
Yeah, it went like Congressman Graves, it was rumored he was going to run for governor for like a year, so I was ready for it. I knew that's what was coming. All right. In the meanwhile, keep at it in the 5th. I mean, if that's where we're at, that's where we're at, and I'll continue to ask as we move forward. I always appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great day.
Yeah, JP, you weren't around for that when Graves was talking about running for governor.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, he would start like, Brian, your call's breaking up, Brian.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
Good stuff.
Yeah. No. Look, she will make her decision when she makes her decision. I'll keep asking, but she's not there yet. Here's your money now.
I wonder what he's up to. Speaking of, I agree.
I need to talk to him, yeah. Bro, my Smash Burger reel is now up to 108,000 views.
Golly.
Just to put that in perspective, the next reel that I have is me at Vex European, 972 views.
It
so
happens, man.
I know, but I feel bad for Vinny. Like, Vinny's getting no love. Louisiana Travel Association, Miller's RV, they're getting the love.
Oh, man.
You know what I need to do? I need to drive a Ferrari.
There you go.
Yeah, I need to go full on, like,
you
you know what we need to do?
Put that out
Let's
there.
Let's do a shot-for-shot remake of the opening scene of Miami Vice.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, bikinis and all. Let's go.
Oh, my God.
Maybe, no, okay, shot-for-shot scene of Magna P.I. I'll grow a mustache.
Hey, there you go.
That'll get it done.
There you go.
Honestly, I'd be curious to know if I could still drive a stick. I learned how to drive on a stick.
Yeah.
So I don't know if, like, I don't know if that's a skill that, like, you ever forget.
I don't know.
I mean, I know that it would take a while. I wouldn't want to get behind the wheel of a Ferrari. Like, I would need, like, a Fiat first.
Yeah.
Put me behind the wheel of a Fiat first.
You want to start a little slower. Yeah, my brother drives.
But, like,
stick. That's all he wants to do.
yeah, but to have that, the back and forth, the rhythm of the clutch and gas, like, there would be a lot of.
And doing that in a loaner vehicle?
In a $100,000 loaner vehicle? No. We need a, like, a little, we need a Volkswagen Bug first.
There we go.
Yeah, see, and I learned to drive in like north of Covington back when I was growing up in, like, early 90s.
Yeah.
North of Covington, you can get on, like, old Military Road, Old Military Road. You could learn how to drive a stick and not affect traffic. You'd be the only one on that street that's not a deer, and, like, you work that clutch. It's, 91 Chrysler LeBaron.
Okay.
Well, actually, I learned how to drive on an 82 Toyota Corolla. So, which was a 5-speed. So, I think I can replicate that. Can somebody find me an 82? No, I'm sorry, it was an 84 Toyota Corolla.
There we go. Yeah. Someone out there? Even going back to social media, just seeing, like, what pops off and what doesn't, or what works well. How does that? I don't know. It's hard to explain. How do you explain that? Because I want to say.
.856 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Oh, look at that. JP, you and I were talking about driving a Ferrari during the break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well, you would drive.
I have my live read for Vex European right now. That's kind of a natural segue.
Yeah. Good stuff.
How did we get on that topic?
My
reel. Okay. No. Yeah. So I this past summer we did an RV trip for a vacation, and I posted up a reel of me making burgers on, like, a public grill, and it's at 108,000 views right now. And, like, the video next to it is at me at Vex European, and it's got just shy of 1,000 views. I'm like, I feel bad. Like, so you know what I need to do? I need to go over, like, hit up Vinny and say, can I drive one of your Ferraris? That would be such a well-reasoned plan, right?
Yes, indeed.
Put me behind the wheel of a Ferrari. Let's do that and put that on reels, right? That's. By the way, Vinny and his team over at Vex European, they specialize in European vehicles. They are your greatest outlet for exotics. If you drive an exotic vehicle, you need to hit up Vinny. He's got the techs Techs, Techs, that know how to take care of an exotic vehicle. Ferrari, Porsche. If you've got a vehicle that, demands excellence, he is your excellence. Check him out at vexeuropean.com. That's V as in Vinny, vexeuropean.com. And of course, if you drive a Mercedes, a BMW, a Land Rover, a Jaguar, all these fall under that same umbrella. You're going to get a master level technician for your make of vehicle at vexeuropean.com. Okay, thanks to everybody who's been on the show today. I know I'm going to get pushback for not pressing harder for an answer from Congresswoman Letlow on running for Senate. And that's fine. But the moral of the story is, though, she's not at a decision yet. Like, what you want me just to badger her and get the exact same thing, but you have the satisfaction of, well, you beat the hell out of her. She will make her decision in her time, and we'll be here to report on it when she does. So I appreciate the Congresswoman, but the conversation about the political rhetoric to me just, she was good. It was a really, really good segment right there. In fact, all of them. Councilwoman Laurie White Adams was awesome. Susan Bourgeois, beyond awesome. Whitney Hoffman, Sayal, Daniel Erspamer, Franz, Borghardt. Full slate, all just really, really quality stuff today. Will be available online or on demand at talk1073.com, courtesy of the folks at Lake Urgent Care. All right, before we get out of here, let's hit the outside in. How about 1,000 National Guard troops could be on their way to Louisiana, heading to various cities throughout the state? This is an idea that Governor Landry has the thumbs up for.
I think the president recognizes that our cities around this country are way too violent, okay? People say, well, this is a militarization of our big cities. Our cities are already war zones.
Congressman Carter, however, on the other side of this one.
We don't embrace the notion of having National Guardsmen with M16s walking the streets of New Orleans, militarizing our communities, and perhaps adding more insult to injury.
However, we've seen increased efforts in New Orleans, specifically with Troop NOLA, take effect and have a discernible difference. Man, we're going to have to pick this topic up at a later date. We're just straight up out of time, y'all. Moon's next. We'll see you tomorrow. Susan Bourgeois is our featured. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Susan Bourgeois is our featured, and the headline reads, I don't want to say revamping because they're just fine-tuning economic development. And I could literally do a separate segment on each of those 4 bullet points. That Supply Louisiana, the Louisiana Supplier 1 or whatever, Source Louisiana, that's what it was. The Source Louisiana. I could do a whole segment on, I could do a bit on it without the secretary. Like, one of the favorite things of a guy's favorite thing is to have a guy for that. Like, there's no aspect in life where, anything from, fresh shrimp to watermelon to, sheetrock, no matter what it is, I got a guy for that.
Mechanic?
No.
Yeah.
I got a guy for you.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I've had these shoes forever, but they're falling apart. I got a guy for that. Yeah. There's no aspect in life where I got a guy for that doesn't apply. And this is Louisiana doing it on a statewide level. That's, to me, that's its own segment right there. And I think the secretary would be appreciative of the, by the way, if she steals, or I should say takes because I gave it to her, if she actually runs with the whole of government, we just added the W.
Okay.
Bro, that's a Reader's Digest level pun. And I could not be more, I intend my puns. I'm not a coward. My puns are, I don't say pun not intended, pun very much intended. Intend your puns, cowards. All right. Just the whole of government. We added the W. All right, I'm going to be proud of that one for a while. excuse, I just pardon my pride for just a minute, but how about it? All right, guys, Haggai's in tomorrow, Crime Stoppers tomorrow. I don't know what just happened to my voice.
What are you doing?
I don't know.
What was that?
We're out of here. We'll see you later.